My live? Think so. I am indeed live. Yes. Think. Keep refreshing stuff. Does say it. Um, there's no bitrate though. So knows. Okay. Yep. There it is. All right. Okay. I have a good couple of stuff here. Um. So I did. I started this stream actually because I wanted to watch this video. Watched like a couple minutes of it. Yeah. You want to watch this video here?
LinkedIn is the worst.
I don't. I just want to hate the tab though. Yeah, it's what it is.
LinkedIn
I wanted to watch this because I have kind of had to use LinkedIn a few times, so I was curious of what actually it is.
is the worst social media platform ever made. You see, maybe you're just searching for a job, or you might just be trying to do some networking. Whatever you're trying to get out of it, LinkedIn is sure to disappoint. Trying to use it to actually get a job is completely soul crushing, especially for new graduates.
It is.
You've spent years on your education,
It's so
grinding away to
soul-crushing.
eventually get qualified for a good job. Then, you can't find a job. No matter how hard you try, you just get strung along by multi-stage interviews and flaky recruiters. That's where LinkedIn comes in. With its monthly subscriptions and promises of a way into the professional world, the platform preys on the hopeful. You can spend months or even years looking for a job on the platform, slowly losing your savings and your sanity as the never-ending search drags on. The worst part.
Well, you could, but there's also multiple other places you could be actually um just trying to find a job. So you don't have to just be or looking on LinkedIn. If you haven't found a job in years and you've actually been trying, it's insane. That is actually truly insane because that is really interesting. I'll watch this next. I just talked about it yesterday, but no, yeah, I believe it's kind of I don't know if you actually would spend years looking for a job, but for all those years, you actually were looking for a job. I don't know how that actually works. That it's never happened to me. So
Is it doesn't seem like there's an alternative anymore. Today the site is full of empty corporate bragging, AI written slop and con artists. Making a real connection with your connections is very rare. But you've got to try and deal with this all to try and break into lots of industries. The site's full of posts like this. This woman is making up.
oh my god, yes, yes, dude. Um, it's got a ton of just stupid posts. Actually, he goes onto it. He goes into it.
Stories about how her LinkedIn follow account finally won her daughter's respect. All of that just to sell her book and brag online. Millions
That's
of
not
these
even what I'm
posts
talking about,
pollute the
honestly.
site
But
every day, and the
yeah,
people making them have no idea how cringeworthy they are. But surprisingly, that's not the worst part about LinkedIn. It isn't the scam recruitment messages, or the humble brags, or even the CEOs posting crying selfies after.
that's insane, by the way, because he doesn't give a fuck. He does not care that somebody lost their job. You know, he's still making money. He's still making a lot of money, in fact. So why would he actually care?
Firing people. The worst part is that sooner or later you're forced to join in. In the corporate world, you're massively missing out
Oh
if you
yeah.
don't adopt
Oh
a
yeah.
fake persona, fill your profile with inspirational quotes.
This is LinkedIn is 100% the social media for corporate, like anything. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, then you're actually missing out. Um, Yeah, my dad literally says every time, like, "Hey, you gotta update your LinkedIn." I'm not even working um, corporate jobs right now. I mean, I hope to be soon, but I haven't even been working in a corporate job. So, but I still have to do it. I haven't really posted anything on it. I just kind of update it, but still, it's like, yeah, if you want a good job, not like a blue collar job, you need to have a LinkedIn.
And pretend that you live for the rat
See, I
race.
haven't
If
done
you
any of
don't
that yet.
dance the dance, then your career could suffer. You might have spent countless hours on the site sending out applications and bashing your head against the brick wall of the modern jobs market. But unfortunately for lots of people, it's unavoidable. Today, LinkedIn is a
Pretty
key
much.
part of the
I
modern
mean,
corporate world.
your application being rejected will happen regardless on LinkedIn or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, doesn't matter where you submit an application because even submit it in person, they still could reject you. So it's not necessarily just for LinkedIn in general. You know, you can send it even on Indeed, and they'll probably still reject you there. Monster or whatever. I don't really use a lot of job boards, so I don't actually know the most of them. I just know the big two, or I guess LinkedIn especially, and then Indeed is kind of all I know. But anyways, yeah,
Workplace. The culture on the platform is just a reflection of what's going on in offices around the world. But as we'll find out, it's also played a role in creating that culture.
yeah, but I did not mean to do that.
If you saw potential in lots of people, it's
Yeah.
unavoidable. Today, LinkedIn is a key part of the modern corporate workplace. The culture on the platform is just a reflection of what's going on in offices around the world. But as we'll find out, it's also played a role in creating that culture in the first place. And it's all thanks to a man named Reid Hoffman. Now,
I
Hoffman
have
is up
no,
there
I
with the
don't know who this
biggest
guy
names
is,
in
by the way.
tech. He lives and breathes Silicon Valley. But unlike other tech billionaires, Hoffman never relied on his image and breathes Silicon Valley. But unlike other tech billionaires, Hoffman never tech. He lives
Hmm,
and breathes Silicon Valley. But
that's interesting.
unlike other tech billionaires, Hoffman never relied on his image to get ahead. Instead, people knew him as the man with the connections. In the wake of the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s, he was the guy everyone wanted to know in Silicon Valley. If he saw potential in you or your company, then he had 1,000 big names he could introduce you to. A large part of this was thanks to his prominent position at PayPal. People always remember Elon Musk and Peter Thiel from the
Oh,
PayPal mafia, but it was actually Hoffman pulling the strings in the background. Thiel gets the credit for
is that
being
how
one
I
of the
never,
first investors
know
in
his name?
Facebook, for example, but it was Hoffman who actually
I had watched a video about the basically the start of PayPal and whatever. So probably how I
brokered the
actually know him.
meeting and introduced him to Mark Zuckerberg. While all of this contributed to his
'Cause
fortune, it wasn't what made him who
although I don't actually know who he is, I think I
he is
remember his
today.
name at
Instead,
the very
Reed took
least.
his focus on connections and turned it into a product. In the late 90s, Hoffman had been involved with one of the first social media networks called socialnet.com. It failed, but the experience taught him valuable lessons about virality and how to get a platform off the ground. A few years later, Hoffman was already rich on PayPal money and had all the connections in Silicon Valley he needed. But he saw an opportunity. While other entrepreneurs were busy messing around with generic social networks, he was going to create one for the corporate world. When it launched in 2003, LinkedIn was very simple. It was basically a way for you to put your resume online and connect it to other people. Hoffman wasn't even the first to think of the idea, but his connections and business sense meant he had the head start he needed. He had a
Yeah,
two-stage
obviously,
plan for growth,
obviously, I was not one
which he
of the
later
first people
explained in
on
a
this website.
2014 interview with Sam Altman. The first part
The
revolved
only
around
kind of
getting the
way I
very
know
first
is,
users on
or
board.
the
For
only,
this, Hoffman could just
I could pull it up now, but the only like later I know is
use his growing
you know
Silicon Valley connections.
How did
whatever
you get the
the
first million or even the first
present
1,000
one.
users for LinkedIn?
So first 1,000 was easy. We just sent out invitations.
The site soon picked up momentum as other big names in Silicon Valley quickly joined in, but it
I don't know
still
who either
wasn't
of those
nearly
are.
enough. Hoffman had to tap into a very human fear that you're missing out. He needed people to think that everyone they knew was on the site, that they would be left behind if they didn't join in, that their careers would just be overshadowed by everyone else. This was where stage 2 came in, mining people's address books.
Probably the key thing that we innovated, and we were the first people to do this, that then caused the growth curve to change, was upload your address book and see who else you knew was in LinkedIn.
Hoffman is only showing people half the picture here. He's
Yeah, I don't do that. I don't even do that with like my phone or anything. I just don't. I don't want that, you know?
leaving
It's
out how
creepy
all
to
of this
me.
really worked.
Plus, they would
LinkedIn
probably
might never have
sell you
succeeded
data
if they
too,
didn't
so
start pushing their own plugin for Outlook. It seemed
try to give
simple
them
to the
as little
first
as
users.
I can.
It told them
Yeah,
it would just
but
take
still
all of their
giving them
existing
something, you know?
email contacts and check if they were on LinkedIn. Then the site would ask users if they wanted to invite other people. It was deliberately vague, making it seem like they could already be on the site and that you were just sending a friend request. Instead though, people would accidentally send out mass emails to the whole address book inviting them all to LinkedIn. Even though it did take around 3 emails on average for someone to join the platform, the sheer
Accidentally?
volume of
I
invitations
doubt it's
was enough and
accidentally, but
LinkedIn grew like a weed. Tactic worked, and their initial growth projections were incredibly ambitious, but LinkedIn still surpassed them by more than double. Imagine how much better LinkedIn would be today if it just still looked like an address book. You wouldn't have to wade through the knee-high quagmire of scam artists and useless posts. You could just connect with the people you needed to and get directly to the source. The job market would be far simpler and you wouldn't need to spend 40 hours a week applying to jobs just to have a slim chance. Things would still be hard, but they would be a whole lot easier as well. But to monetize his product as much as he could, Hoffman had to go beyond the societal constraints. He had to push people's psychology further. To do this, he hacked into the same fear of missing out that the site had used to grow, offering people who paid further reach than the people who didn't. By 2005, just 2 years after launch, LinkedIn then rolled out their in-mail service. For a monthly fee, people could go beyond the people they had connected with and send spam messages to tons more people. They could even message people over 3 degrees of separation away from them, friends of friends of friends. Their press release even admits that most of these messages wouldn't get replies, but people still ate it up anyway. And so this was the beginning of LinkedIn's monetization. Today, it's grown to astronomical levels, $30 a month for individuals. The way they sell it is telling, dangling stats about how much more likely you are to get a job. Really, if you have a job, you don't need the subscription, so it's in their interest to keep you searching. Over time, LinkedIn would slowly create higher tiers and more ways for people to do this, adding in premium plus accounts, business accounts, all sorts of layers and artificial restrictions in the way of what the site used to do for free. It's just the classic startup strategy. Start out with a good system supported by investor cash, then make it worse while squeezing the user base for money once you've got them hooked. LinkedIn grew fast, so Hoffman could start this process quickly. First to 1,000, then to 1,000,000, then quickly to 100 million users in the space of a few years. But even at this early stage, LinkedIn was already starting to embrace ideas from other social media platforms. In 2007, for example, they began to build infrastructure for people to upload professional photos for their profiles. It was a small and necessary step for the site, but it still watered down the initial
There's no way it was $30 back then, right? Completely forget. Oh well.
goal of LinkedIn, being solely dedicated
It
to
is.
making business
No, it was
connections.
$15.
Pictures of
Even
smiling professional
$15
people
a
helped
month
create the
back in
impression that LinkedIn was
2000
popular and
and
worth
whatever,
joining, while slightly
7
lowering
even,
the amount of
is
actually
insane.
useful information on the site. Later in 2012, LinkedIn pivoted away from connections almost entirely. They then began letting people follow other accounts just like Twitter. At first, it was just for a few select people like big CEOs or politicians. They could also make their own posts talking about personal stories, or their tips for business or whatever else was on their mind. But pretty soon, it extended to everyone. People were pushed towards treating the site like a sanitized corporate version of Twitter. That same year, they also let people add more pictures, videos, and other personal branding onto their profiles. The platform was now starting to look a lot more like Instagram and Twitter. The reasons
Maybe not
were
German, but
obvious.
Dutch
Like other
even. I don't
social
know.
media
It's some
sites, engagement was
European
king for
language. Why is
LinkedIn,
he using that?
and they wanted people spending as much time on the platform as possible. This meant hiding the old, bare-bones professional parts of the site, replacing it with more content and visual elements instead. The incentives of getting rewarded with actual benefits like professional connections and job offers quickly moved onto the site itself. No longer was this about getting rewarded with actual benefits like professional connections and job offers. Soon enough, it wasn't just about chasing that key introduction with an influencer.
It is kind of crazy though. It is literally now, um, not just job board, or I guess not just a quote unquote social media. I don't call it social media because it's not really social media. I mean, I guess it is, but not in the traditional sense, I guess. But it's crazy that it does that, and now it's even a job board. It's kind of crazy. It's like all in one thing.
Person like people had done in real life. Rather, the incentive was now about gathering likes and followers and online clout. LinkedIn had created a parallel dimension to the workplace, a more liquid corporate world where your false corporate persona
And now
becomes your
it's
entire
even a different.
identity. In the real world, you can only really humble brag and sell yourself to the people physically in front of you, and your ability to do this is governed by
Well, you can humble brag, but it still won't give you any job. In fact, they have so many applicants, it doesn't matter what you say.
social convention. If you do it too much or too obviously, people just see through it. So LinkedIn took that corporate fakeness and turned it into a competition. You could now create a whole profile full of humble bragging stories and a list of your achievements dressed up to sound as impressive as possible. Whoever could rub their success in other people's faces in the
That is insane. I'd hate to know him. All tricks don't even know it. Rapid action and nature this equal. Okay, there was this started I push and break through. I'd opt out simply because you're fucking annoying me.
most engaging way would get pushed to the
And
top
then
of the
everybody
algorithm.
clapped,
It's
right?
how
Oh yeah,
you
I
can
can.
get posts like this after years of this process. Gary doesn't see any problems with bragging about how his wife might leave him, as he's completely invested in the parallel world of LinkedIn instead, and he's turned his impending personal tragedy into just a lesson for wannabe entrepreneurs. LinkedIn fully intended on creating this ecosystem. In 2015,
Oh
they
yeah.
fully dove in, adding a social media style content feed they had borrowed from a startup they bought a few years before. This was the final nail in the coffin, and LinkedIn has just never been the same since. Before, LinkedIn had been about enhancing the professional connections you already had and extending your reach. Over its first decade though, that completely changed. The
Probably
idea
why my dad
became for
always said
users to use
to use
online
it.
clout to get the job offers and the actual
It
career
used to be so
benefits.
much
Whether
different, I
that
guess. I
actually
don't know.
worked though was another matter entirely. LinkedIn still dangled the carrot of career success in front of its users' faces, even after it became a pipe dream. You could say that this was all just a coincidence. There were clear reasons to do all of this that any modern tech company could recognize. Engagement equals profit when you're running ads and trying to get people to sign up to monthly fees. Plus, LinkedIn users are some of the most profitable users out there. Lots of people are happy to spend vast amounts of money as business expenses, and LinkedIn
Yeah,
charges massive amounts for
business
recruitment
expenses.
features. So why not try and create an ecosystem full of engaging content, rather than just an address book and a bunch of dry CVs? But it wasn't just profit. Reid Hoffman knew that changing and improving the very nature of the workspace would make LinkedIn an essential part of the modern corporate world.
What I'm most interested in is how do we essentially make products that make us much better as a group, both better for us individually and better for the system.
Reid had already tried to make a social network and failed. But with LinkedIn, he could slowly build the user base, then add in the social media infrastructure later on to squeeze even more money out of it. Once it gained momentum, it would achieve his goals of improving people and changing them to better fit into systems. What does that really mean? Just take a look at how LinkedIn has changed people and adapted them for a corporate life. Today, joining LinkedIn means joining the corporate marketplace, but it isn't a free market. The entire platform is designed to be as good for employers as possible while also taking as much of the power away from employees as possible. Searching for a job on LinkedIn is soul crushing because
You
of how
don't
it's
have
set up. You might get
you don't even have in America, you don't even have workers right in the first place. So
is designed to be as good for employers as possible while also taking as much of the power away from employees as possible.
yeah, even when you do get hired, you still don't have any power at all. Um, yeah, so it's like they're just, I guess, projecting it onto LinkedIn. Um, I feel like it's abuse of power sometimes even, especially when I've worked um jobs that have zero really, you know, pull or weight. Um, your managers always expect more and more from you, but if you don't do that, they will fire you. But if you do it, then you're doing more than you should be doing. You know what I'm saying? Not only do they expect more and more from you, it's like they will also just constantly be watching you, micromanaging you. It's fucking absurd, and there's not much you can do about it because you don't have the money to do something to be that manager, and you don't have any pull or weight to get a job like that because you've only ever been working under management and never for management. So you have the zero experience in management, and so you really can't get a job like that. So you know it's kind of a death spiral. Even if you do have management experience, still doesn't mean you'll get a job like that. Or even you might have like a managing job, but you'll still be managed by somebody else, micromanaged even. So kind of kind of like you can never, unless you are the top dog, essentially, you'll never not be micromanaged in today's world. And it's just sad to me. It's just sad.
Searching for a job on LinkedIn is soul crushing because of how it's set up. You might get tons of messages at first, but 99% of them aren't going to be relevant or trustworthy.
Pretty
Instead,
much,
they'll
yeah.
be from recruiters sending messages to thousands of people. They might not be hiring for your location, they might not be hiring for your actual job title, it just doesn't even matter. They only want information
Selling
and
it.
maybe to hack your account if they're particularly malicious. With all their money and power over their own platform, LinkedIn could easily crack down on this, but they don't, maybe because it increases engagement and keeps people coming back to the site to check their notifications.
And also money. I mean, you can see that in even games, you know. They got so much money to play with, you know, Activision, Ubisoft even for Siege. Um, but there's always an epidemic of cheating. Always. And they just they have the resources or they could have the resources to do it. They just don't because it saves them money. And they know people will still use it even with those problems. Because they have the data to prove it. If if people really did start just leaving in droves, no, I'm not just talking games at this point. If people did just start leaving in droves, like um, LinkedIn or the games at all, then they probably would do something about it. Um, I think BO7 is a good example. Even I Just haven't played it at all. Nobody I know has played it. Um, Everybody I know has refused to even buy it. I tried it out on Xbox Live or whatever, like the 2 week $1 thing, right? Never again did I play it. I got, or I mean, I did like few hours in the game post, and then I was kind of just done. I really did like the beta too. I did really like the beta. Um, that was more so just what on multiplayer, but I did like it, and I think the connection was pretty good by then. But then the actual game came out, and then the connection just tanked. So I don't know what they did to make it do that, but they somehow made it happen. Uh, so yeah, I just haven't played since.
Going the other direction and applying to jobs yourself isn't likely to work either. LinkedIn is full of so called ghost jobs, job openings that get advertised on the site but aren't actually real. Lots of companies want it to look like they're always hiring. There are tons of benefits to doing this. They have a continual steady flow of applicants without really having to do anything. If they ever get someone vastly overqualified who doesn't know their own worth, it pays for itself. They might not even have a job opening, they're just looking to see who's out there. Today, the ghost job rate is at 30%, including on LinkedIn. In some industries,
Insane.
it's double that. So, depending on your job, over half of the applications you spend days working on aren't actually going anywhere. We're not built to
Insane,
deal
by the
with
way.
these levels of rejection,
Because yeah, I
constantly
mean,
banging your head against.
I know one time I was looking at jobs, and it's just like I could submit 100 applications, right? Maybe 10 a day, and I'd get a response in maybe one or two, maybe one or two. So, and I'd even ask, or if these were actually just companies that I know, I'd call them up to talk with them again, and it's just like, oh yeah, well just wait on the hiring process. I'm like, it's been 3 weeks now. You haven't even said anything about it. So what do you mean? You know what I'm saying? I've obviously didn't say something like that, but it's like you they will make you wait for so long and then tell you it's like, oh, it's just the hiring process. It's like, no, it's not just the hiring process at this point. It's been 3 weeks. So no.
The wall with no reward. But going through this process better conditions you for corporate life. Lots of these problems aren't unique to LinkedIn though, they just make the situation on the site that much worse. The real problem that LinkedIn creates is based on what it rewards and how it forces people to portray themselves. Creating a good profile on LinkedIn is much more similar to making a dating app profile than to writing a CV. To stand out on the platform today, you need to maximize the visual appeal. People add insane job titles, dressing up their actual experience to look amazing.
Yeah, fake customer. Yeah, no, that's pretty much how it works though. You know, the old meme of like garbage is like, or a garbage man is like, oh, I'm a waste management expert or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Which nothing wrong with being a garbage man, especially the driver. Get paid a lot of money, but it's it's just you have to touch garbage all day long, right? Uh, so yeah, it's like, and I had a video of small creators, digital media specialist optimizing rather, high impact visual content for emerging online brands. Yeah, well, emerging online brands. Yeah, small creators. Yeah, makes sense. Even I put in something like that. I'm not good at it, so I just had AI do it, of course. But that's what I did. Self-taught chef exploring global flavors while mastering the art of meal creation. Self-taught chef. I mean, that's just a hobby at that point. Yeah. customer experience professional specializing in crafted beverage hospitality workflows. Okay, I guess I never go to cafes, so fucking hate them. Not just overpriced, but it's like I don't need to be there. Nothing for me to do there. Feel me? I have Wi-Fi at home. I've protected Wi-Fi, more protected Wi-Fi at home. Why would I go somewhere else? You know?
Amazing, with as many big corporate buzzwords as possible. The amount of job posts you make, the hashtags you include, and
Oh yeah, no, I see like a ton of, I've seen a ton of like just repeated jobs, all with different. Oh, you can even see it, I guess. Oh, I guess these are different jobs, but they even sometimes just have different, um, whatever. They pay you differently, essentially. I've even seen that. It's like it's the same job. I even looked, but they pay you differently. But then, of course, when I called them up, because I had an interview with them or whatever, they did one, or they said the rate you got paid was even higher than either of them. It's like what? So yeah, it's not really at all consistent, and you'll probably just have to either get a interview with them or ask them straight up eventually what you actually would get paid, because you would not know. You would not know.
the reach they have are far more important now than your actual achievements. Obviously, having good, real world experience will still help, but it doesn't matter nearly as much as it used to. Your profile will likely get lost in the noise. That's another problem. Just like dating apps, you're suddenly competing with far more people than you were before. Recruiters are comparing your CV and your profile to people across the world. LinkedIn isn't going to restrict who they see. The results are the same on LinkedIn for employees as they are for men on Tinder. The numbers just don't add up, and there are far more employees looking for jobs and men looking for women.
That's kind of crazy. 3-1 male dominance higher. Idle factor. Well, yeah, you don't really see a lot of women up in corporate, I guess, but you do, I guess, as well. I don't know. You do definitely have a lot of women in corporate, especially after um, Me Too movement and whatever. I don't know how it's only 25%.
Just
India, I guess, more so.
like with men on dating apps, lots
I
of
get,
people
yeah, look at
employ the
Europe
shotgun
even.
approach. They just send out thousands of applications to whatever jobs they can find, regardless of if they're actually qualified.
That is insane. 1,000 applications a minute. I do legitimate uh, applications. I send legitimate ones, and it takes maybe 20 minutes sometimes, depending on how much they ask. And sometimes it's like they ask for everything in your resume. It's like, brother, just look at the resume, dude. I don't want to put everything in my resume into a different prompt. And one company even had it like, um, what is it? Autofill is not accepted. And it's like, okay, well, I just won't do that because I'm not gonna type everything out, dude. I'm just gonna auto complete most of the stuff, especially address, phone number, stuff like that. Google already has that saved, right? Why would I want to type all that out if I can just read it and make sure it's correct? As soon as I saw and couldn't do anything with auto correct or auto fill at all, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing all that. I'm not doing all that.
Suddenly, you're trying to get heard and noticed even though hundreds of people are sending in applications at the same time as you. Your application might be well considered, you might be the best candidate, but if you never actually give your application any proper thought, then it just doesn't matter. Meanwhile, just like on Tinder, the illusion of choice makes employers far more picky. They wait for
Yes,
months or
very
even
true.
years for that dream candidate to come along,
They don't
ignoring all the
care.
real people who try to apply. Through all this rejection and all this useless
They
work,
won't give you
people looking for a
shot if
job
you
still
have
have to
no
keep
experience at
up this
all.
illusion. They have to pretend to employers that they're happy and positive and so incredibly excited to work in such a fast-paced, innovative company. It's
Nobody's
just the
ever
same
excited for
performance that
work
people have done in offices
unless they
around the
enjoy it,
world
I
for
guess.
years. But now LinkedIn has made it a 24/7 process. Don't believe me? People even have to keep up the performance. It's just the same
All right, what is
performance that
this?
people have done in offices around the world for years. But
Are you serious? I mean, I bet the person who wrote this never works 12 hours straight. Or if they do, it's in a cozy office with an hour lunch or something. You know what I'm saying? They don't work 12 hours straight unless someone writing this, of course. They don't work 12 hours straight unless it's in a cozy cubicle or office with an hour lunch in between or something like that. And then plenty of breaks as well. You know, because I know a lot of blue collar jobs. Blue collar people will work 12 hours straight. Um, I've worked for I was a subcontractor one time, and yeah, people I was working with, like they were much older than me, but they were always like, yeah, in my 20s, I was working 14, 16 hours a day. Like, no, I don't do that. I prefer my time rather than money, I guess. I'm not going to be doing shit like that. Backbreaking work for 16 hours a day. And granted, they had an hour lunch or whatever, but still, it's like I'm not gonna be working that much time. I'm not gonna work from dark, essentially, because that was in the summertime, right? When you were working at 6 in the morning or whatever, and it was light out all the way until, well, I guess not 6. It was we were working at 8 o'clock, so it was a little bit light all the way up until about 7 or 8 o'clock. Most of those times, I was like, "Yeah, I'm going home." Like, I hate to break it to you, brother. I'm just gonna go home 'cause I don't like working, especially or working that long continuously, especially with my dog. It's like I don't want to force her to spend 12 hours just at home doing fuck all. She has to go to the bathroom sometimes. Yeah, I understand. I will work plenty like 9 hours, right? I'll work 9 hours. She kind of standard to do. But one time I was 2 hours away on a job site, right? And we worked 10 hours that day. We actually worked 10 hours, not just drove down and drove back all in 10 hours. No, we worked 10 hours. So we had to stay at home 14 hours all alone. At that point, I wasn't even gonna get mad if she went to the bathroom inside. I would just clean it up with no issues. Um, I was very surprised when I got home. She didn't do that at all, but I wouldn't have gotten mad. And by like hour 9, I was like, dude, we have 2 hours to go home. I need to go home. And we were finishing something up. He thought, of course, everyone, I guess not everyone, but kind of a running thing where it's like you will always go overtime um, with projects, essentially. You'll never be able to accurately predict how long it's gonna take you to do something, 'cause it will always take longer, pretty much. I mean, I don't think I'd ever been on a job where we said, "Oh, yeah, it will take a few days," right? And it took a few days. In fact, a lot of times it's like, "Oh, yeah, we're only gonna get working about a half day today. We're gonna finish the job, and then we'll be done." Next thing you know, we working even the next day on the same job. It's like, yeah, it's never really like that. So I was like, "All right, well, we do gotta go home because I didn't drive there, right? So I really was pushing him for the last hour or 2, just, "Hey, well, we gotta go home, dude. Been 10 hours. We're not even really done." Were we close to being done? Maybe. I don't know. He went back down there the next day, um, and finished it with another person, in 4 hours. So, yeah, it would not have really been done. I don't it was terrible. I don't like it. I really don't like the work. Essentially extra hours.
Now LinkedIn has made it a 24/7 process. Don't believe me? People even have to keep up the performance after they've lost their jobs. Just have a look at some of these posts made after Meta fired 11,000 employees in
Oh
2022.
boy.
They'll talk about how amazing Meta was despite just being fired. They'll say how grateful they were for their time at the company. They might talk about the overwhelming output.
No, I mean, to a degree, being working at Meta probably is a good thing. You get experience in a large company, get experience in the field you want to be in, right? So I can say, yeah, to a certain degree, you can be thankful, grateful even for your experience at a company, but you also gotta be real, man. You gotta be real. You just got fired, brother. Yeah, sure, you have that on your resume now, but you have no job, brother. But I mean, they don't really care as much because they have a lot more money than working paycheck to paycheck, right? They're not really gonna care as much about it. But yeah.
Pouring of support. Lots of them will post pictures of their dog or their children, another way that Instagram culture has leaked in. They all read out exactly the same way, and that's kind of the point. It's all a performance they're being forced to play out, just to advertise they're looking for a job again. At the same time, companies couldn't care less about how they fire
You dep
people. They'll lay
Oh,
off
yeah.
thousands with pre-recorded.
I mean, to be fair, um, but 80%, yeah, Twitter, that was just a cesspool, so, um, it kinda just had to start from the ground up. So I can understand something like that, where if you have to start from the ground up, you have to fire a lot of people first, so, yeah. But yeah, no, pretty much all in the United States, you can get fired for no reason at all, by the way. I don't know if you've noticed that, but yeah. And I think most states have, have no workers' rights at all in terms of that, like, they could make something up to fire you, and you still wanna get paid unemployment. Like, they could completely make it up, and you'd still get no unemployment because they said this was the reason you were fired. Uh, it's disgusting to me. I don't understand why, as a nation, we have something like that. We have no workers' rights at all. Like, go look at Europe. They have plenty of workers' rights. And even look back 100 years or whatever, in America, where it was harder to fire employees than to, um, what was it? Oh, yeah, just to keep them, you know? It's harder to fire your employees than just to keep them. So why have we switched gears so badly to where now it's easier just to or to fire somebody you don't like as well? You can fire them for not liking them. but you can make up the reason. Oh yeah, even look, you have not met expectations for performance. You know what I'm saying? They could completely make it up and then fire you for it, not give you any unemployment either. So yeah, I mean, it's so disgusting to me, and I don't understand why people are okay with it. And it just perpetuates the rich get richer, and poor get poorer. You know what I'm saying? Because people who don't have the power won't get money, right? You don't have power, you're screwed, you're fucked. You are done for. You'll never have power. So,
Video messages or emails. Some employees have only found out after their security keys stopped working on the doors. This is the final effect of LinkedIn and the reason why it's so malicious to people's sense of self-worth. Before, being fired was the opportunity to finally leave the corporate performance behind. You could let loose, take a deep breath, and for at least a little while be yourself. But today, you have to keep up the facade. The
yeah.
show must go on, and you need to make these kinds of
Yep.
posts, all while having the knowledge that the terrible process of the job hunt is waiting for you around the corner. LinkedIn is only going to
I
get
mean,
worse.
especially with people without much money, if you don't have a lot of money, it's like you really have to start looking for jobs right away. The same day you got laid off or fired, you have to start looking for jobs, right? Or you can't afford to do anything. And even still, it's like you could be going a month without a job at that point with no income. What are you supposed to do? You know what I'm saying? Especially for people living paycheck to paycheck. You have to find another dead end job or even, I guess, food service, right? You have to go to food service just to get some money, even if you hate doing that stuff. You have to do it. You are forced to do it if you have no money. I mean, you either do that or scam the government for SNAP benefits and other money. Because I've seen people do that too. It's insane to me that the legitimate people could never get stuff like that, but people who are scamming the government are very easily able to get something like that. They get so much money from the government, it doesn't matter if they get a job or not. And that is even more soul crushing because you can't do it, but they can. They're not you do it for a legitimate reason. They're not, but they're still getting it.
Now AI has made the platform even more full of spam. Anyone can get ChatGPT to write an emoji-filled post about synergy in the workplace, and
So
LinkedIn
fucking
will spread
terrible.
that slop to
Emojis.
thousands of
Hate
people.
them.
Meanwhile, LinkedIn is hoovering up all the posts and data to train their own AI models, including all the information you put on the site about yourself. If you don't want that happening, you need to leave now. Now, you should do whatever it takes to succeed, but at the same
You
time,
can't really
giving
leave
in
it
and
though.
going along with this
So
modern corporate performance isn't truly necessary. To keep yourself sane and to keep some part of you
I mean,
alive,
it
you
kind of
can't
is
give
if you want a
yourself
job.
completely to the corporate rat race. Otherwise, you might just end up actually believing in all of this nonsense.
I mean, it's kind of needed if you want a job. I don't understand that. Oh, more Pekka's dropped a video. I guess no, that makes sense actually. He drops it about 10 o'clock every day. 10 o'clock EST, of course. So it kind of makes sense. But I'm probably not gonna watch it. I do want to see this
Hey
though,
everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. Welcome to today's
because I just touched about this yesterday. Um, I was literally talking about how flock cameras are everywhere and they are very easy to basically hack. And yeah, they're, government, your local governments don't really care. They didn't do any background on these things at all.
This
So,
episode of How You Getting Fucked. I'm your host, Louis Rossman, and today we're going to talk about a new law in Florida that came out right around the time that all these AI-powered surveillance cameras are becoming popular all around the country. If you're not familiar with Flock, the TLDR of this is they're a company that makes AI-powered surveillance cameras that are being hung everywhere
yeah,
at your
yeah,
taxpayer expense. The whole idea
pretty
behind
much
them
that
is
too.
that
Yeah,
city employees can easily figure out where you're going or where you are based on when your license plate has passed by one of these cameras. It's not just a
yep,
license plate reader, because even if you take the license plate off the car, it could still tell that that is your car via fingerprinting technology. This allows us to live in a future someday where you could just have somebody type in there, where do people who vote for Ron Paul show up at 7 and 9 o'clock on a Friday in this area, and then show me their movement patterns afterwards and actually get a response. It's
yeah,
highly, highly creepy, and it's something that shouldn't be happening.
yeah. See, that's the problem I have, and yet there's a lot of people who just don't care. I don't understand why people don't care. Um, Even in 1984, the book, of course, 1984, this shit will happen, right? It's kind of, I mean, I guess it's not exactly this. I haven't read it for a while, but it's the same concept, the same premise, right? Where you can do all that. You can watch and see everybody's movement at all times, no matter what they do to try to stop it. And what is insane, right? Um, People always talk about 1984, but when it's actually happening in the real world, they're either oblivious or don't care. Like, even my mom one time, I was talking about cameras, right? The flock cameras. I was, because we passed by one of them and she said something about it. So I said, yeah, I mean, I kind of went down that rant of something about how they're hacked or whatever. They watch everything you do and literally tell where you're gonna be at all times, pretty much. And she was saying, "Oh yeah, it reminds me of 1984," but then she will also not care about it, right? Because she says, "If you're not doing anything wrong, then why do you have a problem with it?" You know what I'm saying? That's the exact mindset they want you to have as well. You know, if you're not doing something wrong, there's nothing to hide. Well, there is something to hide. My privacy. I don't want them to know all this. It's incredibly creepy. Even at jobs, like I've already stated before, it's like you go to a job and are being watched by not security cameras anymore. It's just cameras to watch employees, right? They're not quality cameras either. Um, they're just cameras to watch employees work. While the people watching those cameras just sit down in a chair in either the front or whatever in an office, chilling, doing nothing all day other than making sure you're doing your job. Pretty much what happens. Um, and even if you're working second shift, they'll still watch the next day. And if you're on the map or on the radar for them, you better believe you'll be watched even more. You'll be watched even more heavily. And yeah, which I'm always on the map, I guess, for them because they always have been just on my ass about stuff. Um, so because of that, I always look for blind spots, or where I work, I try to make a blind spot for that camera. And it's gone pretty well because where I work, it I forced a blind spot on the camera where I'm always chilling at least. If I'm doing something else, yeah, I'll be probably seen on camera, but for the most part, I'm in my little cubby corner, I guess, where, you know, you're not being really watched. So, I mean, that's kind of all you can do though, because you can't touch the cameras. Because if the camera moves, they'll notice, and then we'll be like, "Well, why does it move?" You know what I'm saying? And then look find out who did it, and it's like, "Oh, you touched the camera. Why'd you do that? You're fired." Something like that. You can't even do anything about it. If you tell them, "I don't need to be watched," they would not care. They would not give a fuck at all. So, yeah.
Anyway, Ben Jordan did a great video on this a few months ago. In
Yes,
this
he did.
video, he's talking
Yes, he
about
did.
defeating the AI in these creepy police cameras. And you can see one of the things he did here is there's this layer of what I imagine is like plastic wrap or something, or saran wrap that went over the license plate. And then you could see these little dots that look, or squares that look like something that got put
I
on with
forget what it
Sharpie. Like
was,
there's a
yeah.
square over
But it
here.
was something like
There's a
that.
square over here. There's a circle over here. This is essentially the world's easiest captcha. If you're a cop, even if you have 20/40 vision, you can clearly make out this license plate. There's nothing obscuring it
Yeah.
whatsoever. However, he shows you in this video how when he just after he does that to the license plate, how it confuses the AI and it just stops seeing it as a license plate. Like it's just confused. It doesn't understand it anymore, which is really, really cool. It says no plate detected.
It was
So obviously
awesome to
you
watch
can
that, honestly, and, I actually did it myself, so.
see the license plate.
Now, um, one time I had a blacked out completely blacked out Impala, like, fully blacked out. In fact, I really like really, really dark tint too. Um, I have about 2.5% on my front windows, and then for the back, it's like 2 layers of 2.5%. So it's really, really dark inside, but it feels safe. And I don't really care as much where I'm going, but I do care more of what I'm doing in the car, right? So really, really dark tint is important to me, and it's really funny when a cop will stop you for tint. I've been stopped by it for tint for one time, right? And it's really funny if an undercover police officer drives by with really dark tint because their tint is not legal, okay? I can guarantee you that it's not legal. Because in most states, it's like 30% is the lowest limit you can go and nothing on the front windshield. Um, so yeah, it's like that's not 30% because 30% you can pretty much see inside of it, right? But those cops are like driving past you, you can't see anything inside. Like, well, that's illegal, right? And they're claiming it's because of safety, right? You can't see out of it. So why are you able to do it? You feel me? If it's something not necessarily for people, but I understand also it's when they pull you over as well, safety, so they can see inside the vehicle. Um, but it's like the main reason you stopped me is for the tint because I supposedly can't see out of it. So then why are you able to drive like that? Like there would be no issue with tint if it didn't pull me over, right? So I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Um, they also impounded my vehicle because um, I couldn't pull up my insurance, right? I didn't remember the login information, and I left because I just got a new card in the mail. And I didn't really put it in the car yet, so they literally towed my vehicle for that. Um, they dropped that ticket at the end of the day, but I still paid $200 to get my car out of impound because of that. So it's not like I didn't pay it.
If this person crashed into me and then ran away, even if I had 20/40 vision, I could see that license plate. The
Yeah,
cop can see
pretty
it,
much.
passengers can see it, anybody in the surrounding area can easily view the license plate. Even a $30 piece of shit dash cam that you find on eBay is going to be able to read that license plate just fine, no issues as a result of that. The only thing that can't see it are AI-powered surveillance cameras that are trying to fucking watch you everywhere you go, George Orwell style. Now, this is
Hey, he even said it. He
Where
even
this
said it.
House bill in Florida comes into play, about 2 months after this guy's video comes out. A person may not apply or attach any substance, reflective manner, illuminated device, spray, coating, covering, or other material onto or around any license plate which interferes with the legibility, angular visibility, or detectability of any feature or detail on the license plate, or interferes with the ability to record any feature or detail on the license plate. A person who knowingly violates this section commits a misdemeanor of the second degree, punishable as provided in 775082 or 775083. Again, if you cover your license plate and you try to get away with driving without it, fine, fuck you. But if any of you have ever driven off-road, there's a good possibility you have more obstructing your license plate than this. Hell,
Yeah.
if you park in the driveway of my store under that fucking tree with all the grackles, you will have more bird shit obscuring your license plate than what he has done.
Even still, it's like, even if you, what I'm trying to say. Oh yeah, yeah. Uh, even snow. Snow is like, if you don't clear off snow like from right here, it will cover more of it than it. You know what I'm saying? And would that be punishable? Of course, it's not in Florida. There's no snow in Florida. There rarely ever is. But I'm saying like states where there is snow a lot of the, a lot of the time, especially in the winter, of course. Is that is that per se legal? I know you can't have anything obscuring your license plate because I've been questioned on why I have a darkened license plate, like a cover that darkens the license plate before. They never got mad at about it, but I just kind of do it for the aesthetics, right? 'Cause everything else was blacked out, so I have to make that blacked out, or it's just weird. But yeah, it's like that shit like this. You can easily see that. It says band one, Georgia 76. It's not at all hard to see. But where it comes into play is where they're trying to track you. They're trying to retail AI tracking, even the cameras. Because I know there's a store next to here where there's cameras on either entrance you can go into, and it will read your license plate. So I never go to the store anymore after I saw both entrances, of course exits, and then I just haven't gone to that store anymore. I went to a different store. It might be a little further away. Um, it might be more out of my way as well, but they're at least not tracking me to that degree. They might track you in the store, but I'm not in the store for very long. I'm not. I'm one of those kind of people who just don't shop. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm going to get. I go in there and get it. Right. Um, I I have rarely ever used a cart as well. I can't even tell you how many years it's been because I just haven't had a cart. I just go in with nothing. I'm out with just a handful, right? I don't go in there for hours. I stay in there for maybe 10, 15 minutes at the maximum, right? And most of the time is probably just waiting in line to check out. So I really don't care. I don't want to I don't want to be tracked like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Done right here. But this is illegal because he has placed the substance in front of the license plate. And when you look through this, when you look through a felony
well,
of the
that
third
was
degree
Georgia.
or a misdemeanor of the first degree, when you look at the punishments that they're putting in place for this, I am not a lawyer in the state of Florida, but this is comparable to a DUI. So even if your license plate is readable by dash cams, by people, both straight on and at an angle, perfectly fine, you can be put in jail the same way that somebody who is drinking a 40 and then throws it out the side of their car, who's swerving in their lane because you had a CAPTCHA on your license plate. And the fact that we even live in a world where people are considering this, where I have 20 emails in my inbox every day saying, Lewis, look at how cool this video this influential person did who's showing me how to put a CAPTCHA on my license plate, is even a thing to protect your Fourth Amendment rights, is insane. But this is being done for a reason. And I think the really important thing to focus on here is it's not a bill about just throwing away your license plate and making that illegal. Because this is one of the reasons I don't want to get into politics.
I've seen people without license plates in general, right? And they never seem to be pulled over. But they had a law like this. Now, Florida can be great in a lot of different aspects, right? A lot of things they do is good, but then they do shit like this, and it's just like, well, I know you want to crack down on crime, but this is not the way to do that. You know what I'm saying? This is not the way to crack down on crime. This is just watching everybody do everything they do at all times of the day. You know where they live. Of course, you already know where they live, but now you'll see when they get home, when they leave. It's just shit like that. And yet still, criminals can get away with it. How? How, you might ask? Well, they take their license plate fully off of the car, or they just steal another person's car, you know what I'm saying? So, it's still not gonna stop crime. It's just gonna track every law-abiding citizen. It's kinda like guns, you know? They say, "Oh, you can't have a gun in this area." Criminals aren't gonna stop using guns or won't bring guns into that area. In fact, if they know that it's a gun-free zone, then there will be less people to shoot them if they start firing indiscriminately. Um, so it changes literally nothing. But of course, then politicians will use that because of Winston Churchill, of course, saying never let a never let a was it's something. Uh, Never let a crisis go to waste. That's right. And so they'll use that even in New York. They'll be like, "Oh, well, we don't have enough protection against guns, right? We need more laws banning guns." It's like, New York, brother, you have no guns in general. You don't have any guns in general. Why do you need to ban even more? Feel me?
because somebody's going to come up with a bill that says the "Don't Kill Kittens" bill, and Lewis is going to vote against it when he runs for the House or the Senate. And people are going to say when I run for re-election, Lewis is for killing cats and kittens, and nobody's going to actually read the bill to realize that the
I
text
can't
of the bill
believe this
says
guy wants to kill kittens. That's insane. I don't want to support him anymore, honestly. I can't support him anymore. Let's just look at something else.
killing kittens is wrong, but we approve of torturing them and will provide funding for torturing kittens. And like, I'll get thrown out of office. This bill is not about obscuring your license plate for everybody. This bill is about obscuring your license plate to the AI surveillance camera. Even
Yeah,
if your license plate is
that's all it
readable
does.
by everything else, it's not enough. It has to also be readable by the device that violates your Fourth Amendment rights everywhere you go. And the fact that this law came out right at the time
Yeah,
that this
no, that
video
I haven't even really thought about that much. It is just a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. That is very much true. I haven't even thought of something like that. Um, well, yeah, it's just that's why it's so creepy to me, I guess, because I believe you should have at least a Fourth Amendment right, right? You know what I'm saying? They can't just watch you. Um, Fourth Amendment right isn't necessarily just watching you, though. Not just necessarily surveilling you, right? Fourth Amendment right is something about legal search and seizure or something like that. Yeah, yeah. The warrant to do that. And I guess, yeah, no, in a way, they don't have probable cause for most people. Like 90% of people, you could not find just cause for, right? But they still can track you, you know? So,
became popular right as this started to become a contentious issue, in my opinion, is not a coincidence at all. And again, I
it's
know that there's
not.
going to be
It's
comments in here
not.
saying, Lewis, why are you okay with people obscuring their license plate? That's fucked up. You shouldn't be okay with that. People who want to obscure their license plate, and I get it. Trust me. When I see somebody with
Yeah, no, I really don't care. Honestly, if I saw someone do that, then I'd be like, damn, they probably they know what's up, right? They either are doing something legal or know what's up. You feel me? So, yeah.
With no license plate on the road, they're usually somebody who's driving like a complete psycho. If you have
Yeah,
the
no
intent
license
to
plate at
keep
all, yeah.
everybody on the road from being able to tell what your license plate is, I'm not okay with that. When somebody crashes into me and then drives off, I'd like the ability to hold them accountable. But this ain't what we're talking about. We're not talking about obscuring your license plate to people around you. We're talking about obscuring your license plate to the camera that's violating the Fourth Amendment of the.
Well, the thing is, police don't even really watch those cameras because they have AI do it for them, right? And they could. They have the ability to watch those cameras, but they don't because they have AI do it. And if something like that happens, would they look at the camera? Or would they just be like, "Oh, well, the AI says there was nobody or they couldn't read the license plate." You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that work? Would they actually do what they're supposed to do and find that person? Say, a hit and run? Or would they just rely on the AI? I don't know. It hasn't happened to me, so I don't know.
The Constitution
And knock on wood, it doesn't happen to me
to begin with, and that's very different.
because my car, even if someone scratches it, it'll pretty much be totaled, right? That's how little my car is worth at the moment. So, yeah.
And the fact that this law came out just now, I'm not usually that guy to say, why do you care about that now? But I think we know why they care about it now.
Yeah.
And there are people that are going to say there's no expectation of privacy in public. And I have a nice little rebuttal over here to all of this. In Carpenter versus United States, the Supreme Court explicitly rejected the argument that venturing into the public eliminates Fourth Amendment protection. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote that the government's access to 127 days of cell site location data tracking movements on public roads achieved near perfect surveillance, as if it had attached an ankle monitor to
Ankle monitor.
the phone's user. The court said, and I quote, "A person does not surrender all Fourth Amendment protection by venturing into the public sphere." The Massachusetts Supreme Judicial Court applied this reasoning to ALPR technology in Commonwealth versus McCarthy, holding that with enough cameras in enough locations, the historic location data from an ALPR system in Massachusetts would invade a reasonable expectation of privacy. It would constitute a search for constitutional purposes. Society's expectation has been that law enforcement and agents would not, and indeed in the main simply could not, secretly monitor and catalog every movement of every individual's car for a long enough period. In United States versus Knotts,
Very much,
1983,
yeah.
while holding that the limited beeper tracking did not constitute a search, the Supreme Court explicitly reserved the question of whether different constitutional principles may be applicable to dragnet-type law enforcement practices. This reservation recognized that comprehensive suspicionless surveillance raises distinct Fourth Amendment issues from targeted tracking of individual suspects. Me coming out with this video, you're going to see so many comments saying, why is Lewis for people hiding their license plates and obscuring them? That guy's a psycho. He wants the
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, when it comes to no protection or no reasonable expectation of privacy in the public, it's like, yeah, but they will also be on private properties, right? Or they could watch you drive into your private property. Luckily, I'm not living in a situation like that because that'd be really bad. But no, like, there are some people probably that legitimately have that concern because, yeah, their either apartment or their house even is able to be seen by one of these cameras, and essentially it can do exactly that, and that is private property at that point, right? So is that not illegal too? Because that's not public anymore. That is strictly private area, right? So would they automatically have a pass for doing anything illegal at that point? Because then they could just say, "Well, you violated my Fourth Amendment right here every day, in fact. So you can't do anything about it. Sorry, not sorry." I will be hold on. I will be taking a break a little bit here, maybe 15, 20 minutes. So I will be back. We'll be back soon. We'll be back. Oh, I haven't actually put Twitch on there. So, oh well. But I will be back soon. I will. In fact, I'm gonna try to put on some music here so it's not completely dead. Um, I'm looking up royalty free music too. I have no idea. I've never heard of these people, but let's try to get Spotify in here. Here we go. Um, I've seen it online, but I've never, like, seen it in person.
So, or PDR.
I really hope that, music didn't annoy people, that especially that last one there, Mary Go, I guess what's called. I don't know. That sounded terrible to me. So I hope, nobody really is too annoyed by that. Well, actually, there's no one here. What am I talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about, honestly. But yeah, no, we can do this. I will probably have to let my dog out again here soon.
roads to be unsafe. You're going to see
Oh,
that.
on? There we go.
Because people are not going to get far enough into this video. They're not going to get far enough into that bill, even if I made a short that's 8 seconds long, to realize that this is about the cameras being able to track everywhere you go,
Yeah.
not just law enforcement officers and the people around you on the road. It's weird the way this works because there's very specific patterns that have to be there to do it, but theoretically...
See, I don't have an issue at all with cops, I guess, quote unquote, tracking you, because you would know if a cop's following you, right? You would know. I never even let cops follow me in general. I always, and I mean this sincerely, like I always pull off somewhere. Doesn't really even matter where I'm going. I will purposely go somewhere else or pull off into even a person's like driveway if I have to. Just so the cop is not following me. And then I'll wait, maybe a minute or so and just leave normally. Or in fact, I might just turn around so I'm not like in their driveway or whatever, But there will always be, if I ever find a cop behind me, I will always turn off, even if it is an undercover officer. Because I'm always scanning. I'm always scanning, especially behind me. So I more so will know if there is a cop behind me or not, and just turn off. So I'm not really having an issue with cops knowing where you are, but this is not really the cops knowing where I am. It's more so a database logging where I am at all times, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah.
That type of pattern could randomly show up if you were just driving through mud. Is it the intent that makes it illegal? Is it the presence of it that makes it illegal? If you have a certain amount of mud on your license plate and that cop doesn't like you, could he use this law and be a
Probably,
dick
yeah.
and put you in jail the same way
100%.
that he would if you were driving with an open body?
I had one time I was riding my motorcycle. I don't have it anymore, but I was riding my motorcycle. I rode past the courthouse. There was so many cop cars or sheriff cars even just on the, I guess it wasn't lawn, but like on the curb and stuff. I don't really care why it happened, because he pulled me over, long story short, but it said something about like they were getting their parking spots redone or something. Like I don't really care, but I went past them at the courthouse, was counting on my fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, stuff like that, right? And apparently he got so mad about that he went to his car and pulled me over a few blocks down the road. Like I was stopped at a light. And of course, like I said, I'm always aware of the cops behind me. So I pulled off and this motherfucker followed me, right? So I'm like, oh, well, now I know. I was going to pull in somewhere to see if he kept going past or something. But no, he pulled me over right then and there. And then he was mad. He was really, really mad. It wasn't even like a sheriff. It was probably a detective or something because he was in plain clothes. So, yeah, he got mad and pulled me over. Even had backup arrive, by the way. He walked up to me. Keep in mind, on a motorcycle, you don't have your insurance on you. You have to get up, go to the back, and get it, right? And he was like, I said, he came up to me, very rudely said, license, registration, insurance, not please or anything like that. So I instantly knew it wasn't going to be a cordial thing here. So I'm like, all right, well, I have my license, but I gotta get my insurance. He's like, no, I need your insurance right now. I'm like, I was about to crash out at that point, but I'm like, I just got up, got to the back, and was like, because I was not fucking around with him like that. So I just got up, got my insurance detail out of the back of my motorcycle, the boot, I guess. And yeah, he was at the end of it, after he knew that I had a license, had everything legit, he was literally going around my bike to find something, to find the tiniest thing he could find, just, I guess, to ticket me or something. Because he said the reason he pulled me over was for exhaust or whatever, but he found out that was I had illegal exhaust, right? It wasn't illegal, right? So now, yeah, I did have a cat delete. I didn't do a full delete, right, or full redo. But I did have a cat delete and slip on. I guess it's not slip on, but yeah. Anyways, I didn't go up to the headers though. But anyways, that's beside the point. My point is, it was loud, I will say, but it looked legit, right? It did look obviously legit. And so he couldn't hold me on anything, right? But he legitimately was looking around my bike to find something he could hold me on and give me a ticket. Because at the end of the day, he found nothing. Couldn't give me a ticket. Even his backup was like, "Well, there's nothing we can do here." So, and they let me go. It's just the fact that he did that though is what had me say this. Because yeah, his point is like, if the cop doesn't like you, he could find reasons. And yeah, I've been in that situation where the cop did not like me. I guess I don't know. I didn't do anything to him at first, but I guess it's more so the fact he doesn't like bikers in general, right? Now, keep in mind, this was a sport bike, okay? It wasn't a Harley or anything. So it might have even been something like that. Maybe he was a Harley rider who hates sport bikes. I don't know. Who knows? But what I do know is he tried to find something and couldn't find anything. Wasted 30 minutes of my day to do nothing. So yeah, it was stupid. It was absolutely abhorrent to me as well. So couldn't do anything about it, right? I really couldn't do anything about it because again, I have no power to do anything. Um and cops have immunity for a lot of things, right? So it's not like he could get in trouble anyways. That's an insane part. But yeah. So if a cop doesn't like you, he will find something to do. Or if he has a bad day, he will find something on you. No matter how small it is, they will try to find something. So
Bottle of Absolute and swerving in.
now here's also the thing is like, I'm not totally against police. I do like the police. It's just some police are just terrible. There are some good police officers, I will say. Like I personally know a few police officers, right? And they're good people. I would never have an issue with them. But it's the cops that have a power dynamic. What am I trying to say here? Power trip. Who are having a power trip. That's where I draw the line, right? Then I'm not so nice about it.
Out of your lane. I don't think people that don't want to be tracked by AI surveillance cameras should go to prison for the same period of time as a drunk driver. But that's just me.
Yeah,
Let
that's
me know what you think
stupid.
in the comments down below. Do you think this is a coincidence that this law is coming out at the same time that the
Not
Fourth
at
Amendment
all.
is being
Not
violated
at all.
throughout the country? Or do you think that it's being done for a very particular reason? Let me know what you think in the comments down below.
It's being done for a particular reason. It's literally so they can track you without you being able to get out of it, right? They say it's to protect not even the children at this point, It's just to protect citizens. It's not. It's literally not. Like the people in power don't care because they won't be tracked, right? Or if they are tracked and they are found to do something illegal or something like that, right? They'll just sweep it on the rug. You know, they have the power to do that. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they don't care because they know that whatever tracking is going to happen, they won't necessarily be a part of it. Or, I mean, they will be, but if they're ever found to do something illegal, they can just sweep it out the rug and nobody will know. So, yes, it's very much intentional.
Thank you to Ben Jordan for doing this video. And
Oh, yeah.
clearly you're getting through to people and you're making waves and pissing all the right people off.
Yeah, no, he is definitely making waves. I've known about him for a while, Ben Jordan. I've known about Ben Jordan for a while, but especially now, it's more so just I've been watching him a little bit more, right? But I've known for a while how he's been pretty good in this kind of field. He does things he wants to do essentially, and yeah.
Because
You know what's funny? It says stalk me on social media.
right after you release this. Oh, lastly, we are also very close to being set.
But I get the difference between being stalked on social media and stuff is like you can control social media. So, you know, you can control what is on social media or not. Now, there are people who will maybe take it a little too far, but for the most part, you can control what is on social media and not. So,
with a website that will alert you when these cameras are coming to your area. So if you want to know if these cameras are coming to your
I don't need to know because I see them. I know they're already here. So,
area and when the city council hearings are, we're going to have a website. It still has some work to be done on it, but I'm excited and hopeful to be able to give you some news on that soon. That's it for today. And as always, hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now. The kitty goes over here. Over here. Over here. Look, I'm petting an invisible kitty. Oh, look, I'm petting an invisible kitty.
please, Kaya, please. Surprised he doesn't have a shot collar for this kitty. Here's my doggy too. Here's my puppy. Hey, not yet. Just trying to take my bottle here. It's not fully empty yet, but she loves bottles, so she will get it. Just not right now. How are you today? Hmm? Probably taking her out again soon here, because I really didn't take her out last time. Just a couple minutes. She didn't do anything, so. But she is going away now, so I guess she doesn't need it just yet. Oh, never mind, she's coming back. Let a monster avoid jail. They do that all the time. I ain't gonna lie. Let me see what do I want to watch now?
I've talked about some
Korean phone, it's scary. I mean, I'm sure that it's not like a big phone, so not a lot of people are gonna get it. Living in the world of the West is absurd. There are issues. I don't know about all this per se, other than the $496 a month or $3 million for a small house. That is insane. We might watch that eventually, but not at the moment. I already see this. It says proceed with expanded AI moderation despite backlash. They don't care. Like I said, they do not care. It will make money. So why do they care about it? They don't. We might watch this one too.
AI. You expected me to be in the chair, but sometimes AI.
Ah!
You expected
I
me to
didn't
be
know
the
there's
chick.
a
Well,
jump
sometimes you
scare
have to
here.
expect the unexpected. The only thing you can expect
Ooh!
is when there's
Oh!
AI dog shit going on. I can't resist the urge to make fun of it.
Dude, this is probably the most scary horror movie I've ever seen. I need to calm down. Whew. That was insane.
I'm in my artsy era of video making right now. That was like an A24 level intro, getting
I can see.
experimental. I just figured since Quentin Tarantino's lost his marbles, lost his mind, and has gone on these unhinged rants attacking beloved actors like Paul Dano and Matthew Lillard,
That wasn't me.
nothing, it's up to me to
I did watch a movie last night. I've been watching, what is it? Final Destination, a lot of those. I watched all 6 of those movies now, but I watched last night Frankenstein from Toro or something. Is it here? Guillermo Toro or something. Yeah, the 2025 Frankenstein film. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's probably one of the most faithful renditions of it as well. I did not watch it on Netflix, which is where it's actually on. So, um, I, I swear I'm not on the seas. I'm not a pirate. I swear. But no, I did watch it. It was pretty good. It's pretty good. I don't speak French, so I had no idea what a lot of that they were saying, especially in the beginning. So I did have to use some subtitles, but it was a good movie. I do like the story of Frankenstein. Because it does raise a lot of good questions about morality and stuff like that. But anyways,
pick
that
up
was
the mantle of
complete
delivering
tangent,
some
I ain't gonna
creative
lie.
cinematography, so I'm dipping my toes in there. Toes that Quentin Tarantino I'm not allowing to suckle on. Anyway, speaking about sucking feet, the YouTube CEO just released
Probably
a statement
does.
that sucked a lot of ass, where he's defending the AI usage across the board on the platform.
I mean,
And
there's no way that statement sucked more ass than Dan Clancy,
it
right?
even goes as far as to say that
And,
it's going to be an invaluable
streamer,
tool for people that
his
lack
schooning
the
rag.
skills and equipment to create videos. It will give them the ability to do so. Basically, go to YouTube Shorts and look at all of the incredible stuff that the skillless have been able to do with AI. We've been blessed, thank God. It's
Yes.
a topic most people have been complaining about, especially when it comes to short form content, because all you get fed is AI gobbledygook, like actual nonsense.
Yeah, you get all AI stuff, and then they say they're trying to crack down on AI, but all you see is AI.
Trash, because it's the easiest thing to just fart
Yep.
out onto the platform. It's infinite content, and when you just scroll, most of the videos you get are AI these days. And the most viewed videos, like if you, instead of just anecdotal evidence about like most videos you get, provably some of the most viewed videos, if you go by views, are AI generated shorts.
Yep.
That is a bleak.
You'll always. I haven't been watching a lot of shorts, but basically, you are finding a lot of just AI dubbed stuff. You know, you got AI voiceovers, which you know it's AI voiceover because it's the very common AI stuff. I don't have TikTok, so I'm not gonna say I know the culture in that, because I know it's very degenerate shit in AI, or not AI, but in TikTok. And I'm glad I don't have it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm so glad I don't have TikTok. And in fact, I've never downloaded it either. So I still have that download button on the App Store instead of it saying that the cloud download or whatever. So I'm so glad I've never downloaded it or ever had it. Because what I see out of it has never been good. It's never been a good thing. So
Future, one that a lot of people have expressed their concern over, hoping that YouTube would step in and maybe do more to stop the platform just becoming a cesspool of just AI trash. Neil, on the other hand, the CEO, believes that that's actually a really good thing because
yeah.
it's giving people that lacked the skills and equipment.
Oh, you'll probably find a lot of Sora as well. So it's like Sora's obviously AI generated, but you'll find a ton of just AI compilation of AI videos with AI voiceover if needed on AI accounts. You know what I'm saying?
The ability to put that in front of you.
And then they say they don't pay those AI bots. Then why do I still keep seeing a lot of them? If it doesn't get any money, then why the fuck do I keep seeing it?
Yeehaw, yippee. But even beyond that, one of the most complained about things on YouTube as a platform is how bad its moderation is, with so many people being falsely banned and shit. And
Yeah,
also,
I've
it's
seen
been
that a
revealed that
lot.
AI is a big part of the moderation protocol for the platform, and it makes so many mistakes that's led to wrongful terminations that everyone with a functioning frontal lobe will tell you should never happen, because AI should never be able to be the judge, jury, and executioner. It
Nope.
should never
Nope.
have the ability to terminate a channel. There is no world where that makes sense for YouTube to just give the keys to the kingdom.
Well, yeah, it does. It makes sense in the world of business. Because again, it makes them money. They don't care about anybody. You know what I'm saying? They don't care about, what is it? Um, False bans or whatever it's called. I forget, but it's something to do with that. But they don't care about false positives. That's what I was talking about. They don't care about all that. They just care that their stockholders are saying, yeah, we want AI, or yeah, we don't really want to have all these people in your company getting paid a lot. So why don't we just use AI so you can use that instead of paying people? It'll save a lot of money. So they don't care. They never will, unless there are laws against it, or there are laws to prevent something like this that happen. But as you saw in the last video we just saw or watched, they really don't care about making laws for anything but to more empower themselves, essentially. Um, so they don't really care about workers or the general mass in at all. But they would rather make laws that benefit themselves, as in the AI cameras, and completely ignore stuff like this, where the majority of people are saying we don't want AI everywhere, and yet nobody in government cares, because that doesn't make them money either. Or even the fact is, the big companies, especially like Google, um, I guess ABC or whatever, whoever owns Google, they will lobby the government to not pass stuff like this, right? Or if there is something in the works, they will again lobby the government not to pass it. So they will never change unless there are laws in place that stop lobbying to the degree it is now. But why would anybody ever change that? Because it makes them money, it makes the government officials money. So why would they care to add a law of no lobbying? Because it just hurts their bottom line.
Them over to AI, where it will ban
It's
people.
absolutely
AI
absurd.
should never
We
be
need to
able to do
change.
that. If it wants to use AI for moderation, it should only be able to flag channels internally and then put that up the food chain, up the ladder, for a human being to look at. But
Yeah, it doesn't do
Neil
that though,
seems to have a different vision in mind
obviously.
based on his statement here. Let's go ahead and take a peek at what he thinks. This article mentions that YouTube is expanding their AI moderation tools, even in the midst of so many people flagging just how bad they have been and how wrong they have been across the entire platform. The article then makes a mention of just how much money this platform is bringing in, which only makes sense that they can't afford to pay more money for better tools. Instead, they just need to just have AI do it poorly for them. Neil said, however, AI will open the door for a new class of creators who previously lacked technical skills or equipment, arguing the tech will revive YouTube's early era of enthusiastic.
I don't have a lot of tech um, for making videos. Obviously, that's of course why there's not much production here. You know, I don't have the kind of money to even pay an editor either. So I will never probably make videos like that, and I couldn't possibly make daily uploads either. Like other creators do, who are more popular, you can pay it, or even YouTube channels that don't have a lot of followers, but again, have the money to put into it to do something like that and then grow a following that way. I don't have that kind of luxury. I don't have that kind of money. So I'd have to do it all myself. But yeah, I also have to work. And again, like I already said, I'd rather have time than money. So even if I did win the lottery, I would still rather take that money and just fuck off somewhere. Possibly invest a lot of it, but I wouldn't be trying to gain power and influence, really. I just kind of be on my own, do my own thing, whatever I wanted to do. Just, honestly, just stay at home a lot too, because I don't need to go out and have a job. If I had that kind of money, I wouldn't be working a normal job. You know what I'm saying? I would probably either start a business of something. I don't know. Can you hear my dog playing with that bottle? It's pretty loud. Anyways, seems like you can a little bit, yes. But Jesus. Yeah, she tears everything up, by the way. She will literally always just shred things. I can't buy tennis balls and expect her to not have it completely shredded. In fact, I have a red Kong here. Or I used to. She shreds that thing up. Yeah, Kong. She shreds the Kongs up, dude. Now I bought the toughest one, that the black one, which is supposedly the toughest one to chew up, and thankfully she hasn't been able to do that, like destroy that one yet. So, but she is really good at doing that stuff. Anyways, what I was saying, I completely forget honestly what I was saying. I guess we'll just go
Amateurs while
here.
helping the platform surface.
Oh no, I do remember. Yeah, I just go do something I want to do. Right, I would buy a house, of course. No money paid, or obviously I'd pay it all off. I meant, and yeah, I wouldn't have a lot of monthly expenses at that point. So I would save the rest of it, probably invest a lot of it, invest the rest of it, and just not work a regular job. Start my own business, if anything, but have it be a business just kind of enough to where I'm doing something. But at the same time, if I don't want to work that day, I don't. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of thing. But I wouldn't want to be in a corporate, you know, job like this. If anything, I wouldn't want to always be getting more and more money at the cost of my time. Right? Because at a certain point, you have enough money to live the rest of your life without doing anything. But and people in companies like this, they don't care, I guess, or they want more and more money. I don't know what it is, but all I do know is that would not be me. At a certain point, after I get my bag, I'd pretty much go dark. Maybe continue it in a different sense, but kind of like PewDiePie, he got his bag and just he still uploads and all, but he does not do what he used to do, right? He's doing what he wants to do now. So yeah, it's that kind of what I would do. I would just do my own thing at that point and just live my best life at that point. So yeah.
Stronger content overall. That's a very interesting perspective on it all, and I feel like that's one you could only achieve by huffing endless amounts of glue to deteriorate your brain to a level of delusion that I find almost enviable. You really think that by giving these AI tools to everyone out there, what you are getting in return is the old era of YouTube of enthusiastic amateurs producing content? In what universe?
Absolutely
It's the
stupid.
antithesis of that. It is the antithesis of creativity. The old era of YouTube that people look back on so fondly, the golden age, that was people just
Yeah.
filming something in their bedroom, talking at a camera, or doing
That was people doing kind of what I'm doing right now, doing what they wanted to do, right? They didn't do it for the rat race, if you will. Again, I have no following, of course. The first stream I ever did was yesterday, but yeah, it's like those people would not succeed in today's world, and I'm expecting not to succeed in too much degree, honestly, in today's climate, because yeah, I'm not gonna try to do what everybody else does. I'm just gonna do what I want to do, right? I'm gonna probably not upload a lot of videos either because I have things outside of this that I want to do. Um, Probably not this month, but yeah, I have stuff to do, so I won't be doing my whole life online. And I don't even I don't even personally have social media a lot, right? I have accounts potentially. I don't use them. I never use them. So I just can't even, honestly. I just can't even with a lot of that stuff.
doing something silly or making a skit, something like that,
Yep.
for the
Yep.
fun of
Yep.
creation,
For the
for the
fun of it.
fun of being creative and just putting it out there. There was no career in it back then. It was truly just for the love of the game, the love of the sport. And somehow, he believes that these AI tools will reignite that passion, that drive. Based on what data? What we have is endless amounts of data to suggest the opposite, where when you have these
Oh, whoops. Not mean to do that. Yeah, no, based on the data of they'll probably lose only a marginal amount of users. That's probably what it is. With the soft launch, I guess, that they have already been doing, they've only gotten bad feedback, but they know people aren't just gonna leave. You see that all the time though as well. Even Taylor Swift was like, I won't live in the United States anymore if I guess maybe not Taylor Swift, but a lot of people were like, I'm not gonna live in the United States anymore. I'm gonna go to Canada if Donald Trump wins. Donald Trump wins and they are still here. So it's really not like that at all. So
tools and make it so easily accessible for people to just squeak out 30 seconds worth of AI drivel on shorts and do that 40 times a day, that's what you will get. It's just AI slop. There's a reason that term exists because
you
when
already
you
get
go
AI
on shorts
slop.
or even full length videos now, people are doing like 8 to 10 minute completely fabricated phony baloney false true crime stuff is one of the bigger culprits where they just have an AI script from chat.
I do like a good amount of what he was saying, like true crime stuff. I do like that stuff. But if I ever see or I guess hear more the AI voiceover or stuff like that, or it's kind of a little obvious that it is, I won't be watching that. But I do there's a actually let's just go here real quick. Oops. Coffee House Crime. Oh, that's not how you spell coffee. But yeah, Coffee House Crime. It's a good place. I know he is not AI, right? He's not at AI. He's not at all AI. There's also another one, which this reminds me of because I watched a video not from him on this, but somebody else. His name was name. I know it's on my main count here. I do know that much. I might not have subscribed to him though. Because I haven't watched him in a little bit of time, honestly. So I'm not getting recommended his stuff. Anyways, there are some actually good true crime channels out there. Coffee House Crime is one of them. So yeah,
GPT that tells a made
and
up
it has
story
no AI.
about a
So
made up person who did a made up crime.
and yeah, no, they're not made up. Because I've actually looked up a couple of them. Now I'm not saying all of them are not, but I am saying especially the ones I looked up to get more information about, especially you know 3 hours long. I'm like, I kind of just want to skip the point sometimes, you know what I'm saying? So I look it up, and it is obviously something that happened. So
When you have that content, what there, Neil, is reminiscent of the old era of YouTube with enthusiastic amateurs creating shit. We haven't seen anything positive on YouTube as a result of these AI tools Neil speaks so highly of.
yeah, no, we have
They're a
not.
fucking scourge right now. Half the time, you don't even know if what you're watching is real or fake because there is so much of this content on there. I say half the time, that's an exaggeration. Point is, there is so much of this
Yeah,
content on there. There are tons of
it
people.
is about it's not about half the time, I don't think, but it is a lot of the time, a lot more than you would want. In fact, a lot of AI stuff. It is very easy sometimes to find it if it's not AI. Like, Penguin Zero is not AI, but he has done an AI short, not a short, but one of his videos. He had an AI part in it, which was very obvious. But who knows? Maybe in a year or two, that if he did that again, nobody would actually notice because it was very different from his normal stuff here. So it was kind of obvious. I was like, that was weird. Why did he? Why did it look like that? Then he was like, oh, that's AI. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. So yeah,
People that are completely misled. Like with the P. Diddy trial, for example. There were entire channels dedicated to following the P. Diddy trial, and the channel turns out was all just AI garbage making up stories, like the whole Prince storyline and tapes that were revealed that brought down the whole P.
I had
Diddy
no
case.
idea
All
about
of it
any of
was
this, at least.
fake. Yet those
I
channels made
I
tons
don't
of
care.
money for the people that made.
I didn't even really follow Diddy's trial other than the fact that I noticed that he got a slap on the fucking wrist like a lot of other rich people will. Which is also extremely insane to me to think that people with power and money won't even get in trouble, even if it's publicly they get lambasted, they get absolutely cooked in public trial. But in the jury trial or the um just the justice system in general, then they get a slap on the wrist. Like, nobody likes him anymore, but they only get a slap on the wrist legally. Why? Because of money.
The AI garbage. And tons of people took it
Money and
as the
power,
truth.
that
A
is.
lot of people believed it. It became a big story that needed to be like formally debunked. That's a bad thing, Neil. I don't know where you are seeing any positive usage of skillless creators using AI tools to bring good content to the platform. Like, I don't know where that's coming from. It is just truly an exploitative tool for people to make a ton of
Mm,
quick cash off of
mm,
by just
mm.
making infinite
Interesting.
videos instantly. Like, that's what we are seeing, and it's not good. Most people are complaining about it, rightfully so, but Neil is defending it tooth and nail. And we haven't even begun to scratch the surface on YouTube's AI moderation tools yet. We're about to get into
Oh
that.
yeah,
According to
I
YouTube
forgot.
CEO, AI will be
He hasn't
key in
even done that at
policing
all.
misinformation, IP theft, scams, and what many creators have dubbed AI slop. AI will make our ability to detect and enforce.
Policing misinformation. Sometimes they police real information, especially like um in 2020 with the election. No, it was 2020 election. Biden and his son's laptop. They all claimed it was misinformation, but it's not. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist here, but I'm just saying they came out years later admitting, yeah, they came to us and said, this is all made up or this is all misinformation. When in fact it's not. And they said to moderate all that stuff. So I'm just saying, I mean, if that's not election interference, I don't know what the fuck is. I'm not even going to get into the fact that a lot of that 80 million votes were mail in or not at all verifiable from real fucking people. I'm not even going to get into that part. So,
Force on violative content better, more precise, able to cope with scale, and adds that the system improves literally every week. Is that so, Neil? It improves every week? Because I just read a story today about a channel that got terminated because another channel re uploaded their video and YouTube's AI moderation tools took down the original creator's channel, thinking that he had re
that makes
uploaded
sense.
that other channel's video, even though he was the creator of it, and you let the re uploader walk away. Not you punish the real person, not the imposter. The AI tools
Sounds
are
about
getting better
right.
every week, huh?
Sounds
There are
about right.
stories daily about the fuck ups from AI moderation tools. What I do agree with him though is that given the scale of this platform, it would be impossible for humans to be able to police all of it. And
That's
that's
true.
something I've
That's
said
very
from the
true.
get go. This could be
Yeah, I think he's going to touch on this a little later, but um yeah, it's way too large to actually moderate with real humans. So AI should be involved to a certain degree. Um it shouldn't have any power to actually do anything about it, right? But it should have power to see it and get a human opinion input on it. Even giving a strike or taking down channels in general should never be. I mean, he's already said that, but it should never be um, in the hands of AI because yeah, it will never get to the point. Well, it might get to that point someday, but it's not at all here at the current present. And I hope the AI bubble bursts before it does. Honestly, um, because yeah, I think we need a complete reset, and the economy is not good, obviously, and if the economy gets kind of collapses to the point where it's another Great Depression, I'm not really gonna be mad. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Um, I might be a victim to that Great Depression in terms of dying, but I think the US needs that, honestly. I really, really do think the US needs a Great Depression too. So, yeah.
an invaluable tool in accumulating a lot of like potential bad actors or internal flags. But under no circumstances should AI have
I feel that only because it is just not good anymore. And people don't have the rights they used to have, right? They just don't. And especially workers. Workers have zero rights when they used to have some. So I think we really need, because I don't think any politician is going to change that fact in my lifetime without something drastic happening. You know what I'm saying? I don't think any of the corruption in government is going to change at all unless there's something drastic that happens, such as a complete economy collapse. One's the like of nobody's really even seen. Of course, nobody alive right now has been in the Great Depression, the first one, and is not like over 100 years old, right? To really know what it was like, because they might have been babies, but they don't really know what it was like. So yeah, because I know, you were born in 1940s, you're still only 80, right? So, um, yeah, but you were born in the 1930s, which is when the Great Depression actually happened. You're 90 years old, but you were still a child back then too. So, um, you don't have the same kind of thought processes that an adult would have in that kind of situation, of course. You still might have, lived a terrible life and, kind of understood that, but it wouldn't have been to the same degree as an adult would have. So you'd have to be, yeah, literally over 100 years old at this point to even really understand the situation you were in.
Have the ability to make a judgment call on if a channel gets
There's not many
terminated.
people
It
over
should
100
never
years
have
old
the
anymore,
ability to
so
issue a strike. What it should do is alert a real flesh and blood
yeah, see, this,
human
that's what I was
being, an
saying. He's probably going to
employee,
say it
God
anyways
forbid,
later.
doing their job to look at what has been flagged and analyze it to see, is this actually violative content? Because right now we have so many examples of AI messing it up. It's been making big boo-boos, big whoopsie-daisies daily. And they are easily overturned once a human being is alerted to the mistake. AI.
Yeah, they're easily overturned if a real human looks at it. But the problem is, and he said this before as well. Problem is, a real human rarely ever sees it unless it's made a big hoopla on X, Twitter. Um, a real human will probably not ever see it, even after it was asked to reevaluate it. An AI will still evaluate it. So
AI shouldn't have the ability to do this in the first place. It should always come down to a person behind these calls. But Neil likes to let AI moderation run rampant. I imagine Neil would have no problem stepping down and letting AI run YouTube at some point. Am I right, Neil? It is a problem.
oh yeah, would he allow that? I don't think so, because then he won't make money.
In his interview, where all of this stems from, it really highlights just how delusional this company is under the leadership of Neil. In September, YouTube unveiled more than 30 AI-powered programs designed to make it easier for anyone to shoot, edit, upload, and make money from videos. That's 3 times as many as it launched last year. Among the innovations were tools that allow a phrase to be turned into a song, or that can translate a video and dub it. One bot can find the best parts of raw footage and edit them together, literally just stealing footage and making a video out of it for yourself to make money off of. Beautiful. Another can turn a long video into a short. All of this says YouTube is in service of helping more people become creators.
Now, I will say something like that is beneficial to someone like me, right? Turning a long form video into a short. I'm pretty sure you're gonna have to pay a lot of money for that though. So the best part is raw footage and edit them together. I'm not exactly sure what it's gonna do, but it's gonna be exploited by people, right? It's not gonna actually, for the most part, be people like me who don't have the time or resources to actually make YouTube their full job, right? And to a point, yes, it would be great for people to do that, but it will not be used like that, right? It won't be used like that. They can live in their dystopian world where, yes, everyone will act like this is not something to be exploited, but if they do exploit it, they'll make more money. And well, you already know my thoughts on that. So
Already the #1 choice of dream job for young teenagers and much hoped for among Gen Z.
I'm not gonna lie, uh, the fact that it's um, something people legitimately want to do is just diabolical because they're not they're not gonna do things people or that they want to do. They're gonna do things to get more clicks, to get more views, um, even if it destroys their morals, because they'll just get more people to watch them. Um, so honestly, I just can't understand something like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how we have fallen so far to where that is a legit career people want to do. And now I do understand that it's something some people want to do, yeah, but I don't understand how it gotten to that point where people want to do that. But it's not they want to do it in earnest, right? They don't want to do it to where it used to be. They don't want to do things they want to do or that are cool and all. They want to do YouTube and just kind of perpetuate the societal collapse essentially.
Neil, how does any of that remind you of the old era of YouTube with people enthusiastically creating content? How? By having AI do it all for you and you can just slap it on your channel to make money off of it? Gotta tell you, buddy, that doesn't really sound like the YouTube I remember on the front lines back in 2007. It just feels like it's very much a corporate decision from YouTube where you can make more money off of this trash. But
It's a point I'm raising.
maybe that's just a crackpot conspiracy theory. I don't know, Neil.
I mean, if that's a crackpot's conspiracy theory, then I am fully on board with that.
Maybe I'm just way off the mark on this one. Maybe there is so much good content you're consuming that's AI generative on the platform right now. I have no doubt you're watching tons of it, right? I still remember when YouTube's slogan was broadcast yourself. Neil is arguing.
I'm young, or I'm young enough. Yeah, young enough to, and old enough, I guess, to have been in that kind of atmosphere. I didn't really start watching YouTube until I was about 15 years old. So it was, well, I guess not 15, but no, yeah, I was about 13 or 14, I think, when I really started watching YouTube and getting on the internet a little bit more. Because yeah, I as a child, I didn't have a phone until I was like middle school, and that was really only because I was in extracurricular stuff. So, and it wasn't my own phone; it was the hand me down. So, you know, but I'm in that kind of bracket of I was in it when it was a golden age. Or to me, it was a golden age where it was really good, right? Um, and then it's changed so much for the worse, definitely.
Arguing the opposite. It's not about broadcasting yourself, it's about letting AI broadcast shit for you. This Time interview really is just fucking laughable. Neil, who has always been known for his willingness to dig into the weeds of an issue and really understand it, proved to be a quick study about traditional media, according to those who have done business with him. I would say Neil is very well prepared, says NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell. What a fucking amazing vouch. That's who I want to put my trust in. Someone that Roger Goodell is saying really has a good handle on it. He's got this industry by the titties. Take my word for it.
Why would that even matter? Roger Goodell. Why is his voice even being put on this? He has nothing to do with AI.
Understands what he's trying to build. He's got a deep understanding of the media landscape and where YouTube fits and where content can help him advance his strategies. He is right in that last part. Neil knows exactly what he wants. He wants YouTube to be very AI focused. I think that's pretty clear given the direction that he seems to be pushing it. I also can't help but giggle very hard at that first sentence about how he has always been known for his willingness to dig into the weeds of an issue and really understand it. Since when? When has that started? What did I miss that somewhere along the way? Because even with this issue with AI moderation, I haven't seen him call out anything with it or make any big, bold changes. It's still in the exact same state.
I mean, he's literally doing exactly the opposite. He's not addressing the issues. He's just pushing it forward still. So, yeah.
It was fucking at the very beginning. Like, I don't see Neil really getting into the weeds of any of it. Like, what are you talking about? He's a guy who's more than willing to plug his ears to it and just let it ride until there's enough of a hubbub about it on Twitter, then someone will step in and fix it for him. Now, just to give you a whole picture of what was said here in the interview, he's optimistic about the implications of AI for his company in the world, believes YouTube could see a return to the early villagey days when it was populated by a higher proportion of exuberant amateurs, which I've already completely dove into by this point, but just wanted you to see what was actually said in the article itself. AI will create an entirely new class of creators that today can't do it because they don't have the skills or they don't have the equipment. Again, they are not the ones doing it with these AI tools, Neil. It is the AI doing it for them based off of a couple of sentences. I wouldn't necessarily say that harkens back to the days of the early villagey days when YouTube was populated by a higher proportion of exuberant amateurs, Neil. It's so fucking silly. But the same rule will apply, which is there will be good content and bad content, and it will be up to YouTube and our investment in technology and algorithms to bring that to the fore. That's true, Neil. Now, can you point out some of the good AI content you're trying to describe here? Because I don't think that shit exists. It is very much the entire
I haven't seen any of it.
To be cheap, easy, and infinite. And that is how it is being used on YouTube right now. Go on your own platform, Neil, and scroll TikToks for just 15 seconds. You're only going to be seeing a
I think that's kind of funny. He said, go on your own platform and scroll TikToks.
ton of trash, mostly AI. Like, come on, man. Like, snap back to reality. This is ridiculous. And at the very least, do the bare minimum of restricting AI moderation tools' ability to ban creators. That shouldn't be allowed. That should just straight up be illegal. Like, I really think that should be a fucking crime. To have
Well, I mean, it should, but it is their personal platform, so it's not like it's a public thing, technically speaking. So it does make sense that they can do that if they really wanted to.
YouTube knowingly allowing AI, which has a very provable track record of being wrong and making mistakes, be the one to take away entire people's livelihoods like that without any human oversight. That should not be allowed under any fucking circumstances. That needs to be fixed right now, Neil. Maybe instead of doing Time Magazine interviews, that should be like on the top layer of your priorities, I would hope. Because it is just unacceptable and it is out of control. It's happening daily. It's not in this perfect state you seem to think it is, and it doesn't seem like it's improving literally every single week like you say it is. Anyway, this interview made me upset, and I wanted to yap about it. That's about it. See ya.
Pretty much makes sense. If YouTube is the worst, the last one, well, yeah. But it makes them more and more money, so they're not gonna fire him until he starts making less money. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Those were the days, man. And that wasn't even that long ago. What the? Gotham Chess is here. Yeah, that's insane. I didn't really watch Gotham Chess a lot, but I have watched him before. Let's watch this. What is he gonna say now?
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left.
When it
Actually, I'm
comes to
gonna watch this.
smartphones, I generally recommend Android, not
I actually have one of these, by the way, with Graphene OS. The only really ones you can use it on is, I don't know why. Got someone on the screen right now, actually, but I have a Google Pixel phone. That's kind of the only ones you can use Graphene OS, I think. But I do have one of them now, and yeah, I of course still have my 16 Pro Max that I bought for like $1,500 almost 2 years ago. Yeah, it's almost been 2 years ago. It was kind of right when it. I know it's only been 1 year. It's only been 1 year. Oh, that's insane. But yeah, no, I still have that, and that's kind of my main phone. But anything else, I kind of just put on my Google Pixel with Graphene OS installed, of course. And yeah, it's a really good operating system, I think, because there's so many options to privatize stuff essentially and make it kind of so nobody can get into it either. Um, ever since I watched Mental Outlaw, even talk about how it was illegal in the Philippines or something because only the criminals would use it or something like that, or you would get stopped or something like that. And then that's when I got it, and now I do have one. I don't use it often, but I do use it sometimes. But yeah, my main is I don't actually have it connected to any like cell service, so I can't really use it outside in my daily life. But again, it's not really to me used for that purpose just yet. And maybe eventually it will be. But I do like blue text or blue messages, so yeah. What can you do?
because they provide better privacy.
I only ever even bought the newest phone from Apple because I had a 12 before that I fixed the screen on like probably 30 times. And it was just getting to the point where the constant fixing of it is just not fun. And also, somewhere down that line, the Face ID broke, so I had to continuously put in my password and stuff. So it just got to the point where I was kind of fed up with it, and I switched carriers as well at the same time. Instead of paying $60, I pay $80, but that's including phone. So, um, and the other phone and insurance even, but the other one was like $60 a month without phone insurance or the phone itself because I bought the 12. It was just a regular 12. And yeah, it's just I didn't buy it from them. It paid like 100 or some dollars because it was a broken phone I fixed, but it was just a screen. So yeah, I did do that at one point, not for like an actual job or anything, but I wrecked my bike, and for a month or two I could not work because my wrist was broken. Um, so I was just kind of doing stuff with phones at that point. And that's actually when I got my dog too. So that's something.
Privacy and security, I think that title actually goes to iOS when compared to vanilla Android. But the real reason I recommend it, especially on a Google Pixel, is because of the fact
When it comes to smartphones, I generally recommend Android, not because they provide better privacy and security. I think that title actually goes to iOS when compared.
Yeah, see, they Apple does do very good with encryption and stuff like that. In fact, if you want a very quick way to make sure no other police can hack your phone or anything, just turn your phone off, right? Um, because if you do, I'm going to subscribe to him, in fact, but if you do watch Mental Outlaw, and especially that video I'm talking about, it does tell you that once you log in, that will be unencrypted in the RAM. I think I forget the exact what he was saying, but the point is, once you log in for the first time after being shut down, then it will be available. Maybe the ROM. I don't remember, but before you do log in, after you shut it down and restart it, then it's still encrypted and there's no encryption keys. I think that's what it was, encryption keys in the ROM. I think that's what it was. So then once you log in for the first time, then it is in it, right? Then those encryption keys are available to be pulled, essentially. And even if you turn your phone off, like not fully shut it down, but you just turn your phone off and on, it's still there, right? So that's kind of why if you're gonna get pulled over or anything like that, just restart your phone, just fully restart your phone, and then make sure you have the paper stuff for ID and um, what is it, insurance as well, right? Make sure you have all that as paper as well, so then they can't have you log into your phone to get that information, and then you might forget, and then they arrest you for something, and then they take your phone and hack into it to see everything. Now, of course, I must say that doing that is not necessary at all. You know, most times it is just a normal everyday stop. Unless you're actually doing something legal, you more than likely won't be getting searched. However, that is not the case all the time. There are some times where you might get pulled over as a mistaken identity. So just be aware of how that works. Okay.
To vanilla Android, but the real reason I recommend it, especially on a Google
Yeah,
Pixel,
vanilla Android,
is because of the fact that the OS is less locked down in that implementation. You can gain root access to your device and modify any of the system files, and you can de-Google your phone, which means removing every
I
single
did de-Google
pre-installed
on
Google
the
service
Android.
from it, giving you
I did de-Google essentially. No, I didn't fully de-Google it, but it's not. Graphene OS doesn't allow you, right? I don't know if it allows you or not, but it's not the official version of the apps from Google itself, essentially. So it is kind of de-Googled. But even if you didn't do that, you could not download any apps like at all, unless you got bootlegged from online or something, which could be very bad. So you should still go through some proper channels, just not fully,
much better privacy. And you can even swap out the entire operating system for something different
exactly,
without
Graphene
having
OS.
to leave the bootloader unlocked. But imagine,
yeah, you can unlock the bootloader and then relock it. So
if just having a Google Pixel phone resulted in you getting harassed by your local police, because the moment they see you answer a call or send a text on it, they assume that you must be a criminal attempting to contact your fellow criminal associates. Well, this is actually the reality right now in Catalina.
Okay, so this is when was this? Oh, I think this is actually the video I'm talking about. This is 5 months ago. I think this is actually the phone I'm talking about, or the video I'm talking about. just not even realize it.
Police there have been ramping up their war on drugs, and in the age of smartphones, most of this warfare is conducted in the digital space by the police conducting mass online surveillance of people and even attempting to hack into suspects and their associates' devices with malware. So, of course, the unlicensed pharmaceutical distributors in Catalina started.
I think I've been in this mindset ever since 2020, essentially. Um, when mass surveillance really kicked off, AI wasn't as prevalent, of course, but they were trying to really crack down on it a little bit more, right? And people just got complacent with it. And now 5 years later, almost 6 years later,
Stepping up
it's
their
even
digital
worse.
security by using encrypted communication apps and even going so far as to install Graphene OS on their Pixel phones. Now, in case you didn't know, Graphene OS is a custom ROM that you can install pretty much just exclusively on Pixel phones, which improves the privacy and security of that Android implementation from the bottom up. And frankly, it creates one of the most secure smartphones that a civilian can easily get in their hands. Way more private and secure than even an iPhone. Graphene OS also provides a lot of.
I think that's more so because you have complete control over that phone. But with iOS, you can't really change anything about it, you know what I'm saying? No. And then you can of course lock down the phone, like not give it permissions to do a lot of things. But at the end of the day, who knows if those actually work, because Apple has been found to have Siri, which I don't have Siri at all used. Apple has been literally found to have Siri listen to everything and record it all. So who knows? Because I for one, uh, have never used Siri. In fact, it's kind of crazy. I guess I've always been in this kind of mindset because I have literally never used Siri. I've had an iPhone since I can remember, really, since 2018, I think. But I had iOS before that as well, right? So, but that was my first like iPhone, you know what I'm saying? I had an iPod before, and then I had Android phone as well, but still with iOS, right? I still had the iPod and stuff. No, I think it was a little earlier. I got my first iPhone, but yeah, I'm just saying, like, I've had it for a long time, and I've not used Siri ever. I've never used um, Alexa either, um, for that exact same reason. So
Tracking mitigations by limiting the fingerprinting capability of apps, and Graphene OS is completely de-Googled. So a lot of that tracking information from things like Google Maps, Google Chrome, the Google search engine that police agencies around the world rely on to track people just isn't available if you're using Graphene OS. There's lots of granular settings to control what apps are able to access on your phone, and Graphene OS provides dozens of user profiles that you can use to further separate what data your apps have access to. And law enforcement are particularly frustrated.
yeah, on mine I think 3 different profiles. One is fully de-Googled with literally nothing, and that's kind of, it just has like any files I'd want on it to potentially use eventually. But it doesn't have that Google Play at all. And then a different one has that stuff. So yeah.
With Graphene OS's mitigations against both consensual and non-consensual data extractions. Now, I don't really know much about this country's laws or how their law enforcement operates, but here in the United States, if you're arrested or even if you're detained for an investigation by the police, there's a good chance that they're going to want to go through your phone if they think that it contains any evidence of a crime. And like I said, we're in a digital age, so obviously a lot of criminals are using their phones in the process of doing crime. Now, with a consent-based search, as it's called, the police are going to ask you to enter the code on your phone and unlock it for them. But of course, if you have thumbprint unlock or Face ID enabled, then there's a good chance that the police can force you to unlock the phone that way by just scanning your face or maybe getting your fingerprint if you're in handcuffs. But if you don't have biometrics and you refuse to unlock your phone,
Well, that's also like if you do restart your phone, particularly iOS even, it does not allow you to do that. You know, it doesn't allow you to use biometrics, so you do have to do it. So not only does it not have the encryption keys anymore, but it doesn't even allow you to do all that stuff. So they couldn't force you to do that. That's also a good reason as well.
and probably arrest you as well. And back at their headquarters, in a mobile forensic unit, they're going to connect your phone to a
That's an
device
excellent
that's
press
going to
dam.
attempt to hack into it and extract all of the data from your phone, and then they'll be able to see everything that you had on it. Now, the success of this data extraction mostly relies in keeping the phone in its after first unlock or AFU mode.
Yes,
This
it's
is the
definitely
setting
the,
that phones are
the
pretty
phone,
much
the
always
video I
in,
was talking about.
unless you
So
power them off or you reboot the phone. And in this state, in the AFU state, the decryption keys for your phone's file system are saved in its RAM. And so
okay,
with
so it is
cell-rights
RAM.
hacking
Okay,
tools that they provide to law enforcement, they're able to, most of the time, recover that data from most phone models that are in the AFU mode. But once a device is rebooted, and then before the PIN code is put into it, the phone is in what's called before first unlock or BFU mode. Biometric unlock usually gets disabled in BFU mode,
oh yeah,
and
okay, so it
encryption
is,
keys are
he's literally
not
saying,
saved into the
yeah.
device's RAM. So the attack surface is much smaller, and typically the only way to reliably get data off a phone in this mode is to guess the PIN. And the secure element that's in more
Which you're not going to be able to correctly guess a pin that has, in the case of Android, it could be many digits. In the case of iPhones nowadays, it's what, 6 digits. You're not going to reliably be able to guess that kind of pin, especially when after you guess it a certain amount of times, it just shuts down, right? So you're not really going to do that. And if you're not, I've had the same pin for many years. Nobody knows it. So other than me and, well, I mean, I told one person, but I doubt they remember it because it's been so many years. So I don't think they really care, in fact. So um yeah, I nobody else knows my pin other than me. So they're not going to be able to guess it. So
modern smartphones makes that brute forcing process much harder. Graphene OS has a feature that automatically reboots your phone every 18 hours enabled by default, which puts it into the before first unlock mode. Newer versions of vanilla Android also have a similar feature.
yeah, see, in fact, mine, cause, yeah, I don't use it often. I have it set to like every hour or something, to just do, because again, I don't use it often. But when I do use it, I don't want it to not be shut down. I could just shut it down every single time I'm done using it, but I don't want to do that. So,
But it
and you can, yeah, it says right here, you can even do it in 10 minutes. So I do not do it like that.
it's not enabled by
Because then, you know, you can't really use it unless you're strictly using it for calling or texting. But even calling, it's like you have to wait for 10 minutes, right? So.
default, and I think when you do enable it by default, it only reboots your phone every 3 days or so. So anyway, if you're using Graphene OS and you haven't gone out of your way to turn off that security setting, then the police are going to have 18 hours at best to try and hack into your phone and try to extract the encryption keys from RAM before it reboots, and then this process becomes pretty much impossible. Graphene OS also disables USB-C connections and data transfers from new devices until the phone is unlocked and the connection is allowed.
That's on iOS too. You always have to accept it, basically. You have to unlock your phone for it to actually transfer. I don't know if that's default or not, but you can, on Graphene OS, you can do it even more. Yeah, it's 5 months actually.
So those mitigations would all new device.
Right here it says, you can't charge it at all, right? Or there's charging only when unlocked, charging and data only when unlocked, and then I think the last one is just fully accessible, which I don't know why that's even a thing, but I guess if people, because you're downloading Graphene OS for a reason. Normal people aren't going to completely do that. They're not going to change the operating system of their phone unless they have a reason to do so. So I don't know even why that's a thing, but it is. So
devices until the phone is unlocked and the connection is allowed. So those mitigations would also have to be bypassed before the Cellbrite can even start trying to hack into Graphene. Now, for the so-called consensual data extractions, where you give up your phone password to the police or unlock it for them, possibly under duress, Graphene OS has a mitigation for that, which is very appropriately called Duress Pin. Essentially, this
I do have that as well. I do have that set up. The worst part is I actually kind of forget it. I think it's the one I'm thinking of right now, but I'm not exactly sure, so I kind of remember that. But again, it's not my daily driver phones. I mean, if it was, then I definitely would 100% always remember it. But I think the only issue of Graphene OS is you have to log in to that profile, and then you have to go to settings to switch profiles. You can't just like have a couple profiles accessible instantly and then just unlock it with a different pin or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You have to manually switch it after you logged in, which makes sense for a security, but it is kind of annoying if you switch profiles a lot. So
this is a secondary pin that you can enter on the unlock screen that will wipe your device and any eSIMs that are installed into it. And if you do use fingerprint unlock, then Graphene OS limits the number of attempts to 5. So you have a much better chance of doing 5 false unlocks, like using the wrong fingers, or maybe if you've got your hands behind your back and police are trying to force you to unlock it, you can, either present the wrong finger or maybe just mess it up enough to get it to disable fingerprint unlock and then require the PIN. Whereas in vanilla Android, I think you get 20 or so attempts. So yeah, obviously 5 is going to be much more secure. The multi-profile feature also allows you to log into one profile without decrypting any data for another. So you could have a decoy profile that doesn't have any sensitive data on it that you unlock,
which I do,
instead as a way to comply with a warrant or, comply with your password being requested under duress, without actually giving up any incriminating evidence. However, if the phone does end up getting rebooted, then the admin profile actually does need to be logged into before any other profile can be logged into. So Graphene OS, along with good OPSEC, really gives you a major privacy and security boost, so much so to the point that law enforcement agents are starting to profile people just based on the type of smartphone they choose to use. And obviously,
I mean, they profile people at any time. Like, that's kind of, I'm not actually against profiling either, because, stereotypes exist for a reason. But yeah, if it's to the point where you are using a different phone with Graphene OS, then that is insane.
Obviously, from a distance, the cops can't tell if you're using Graphene OS or Lineage OS or anything else. They would actually have to get up close and personal to verify that. And I'm sure that 9 times out of 10 people in Catalina are just using stock Android on their Google Pixels. But imagine how triggered the police over there would be if they actually did start discovering Graphene OS every single time, or at least most of the time, that they just talk to any run-of-the-mill Pixel user. Imagine you have 2 phones and you're trying to do a side-by-side comparison of a regular Pixel phone that's running stock vanilla Android.
Yeah, I do have 2 phones. I've had 2 phones for a long time. I don't actually hook them up both to a network or anything, but I have used 2 phones for a long time. My parents, I guess I don't understand why they don't get that one phone doesn't have to be on a network. I they're just not in tune, I guess, with technology enough to understand that a phone doesn't have to have internet connection. In fact, I don't even understand it at all, honestly, because sometimes they don't have internet, but their phone works perfectly fine. It's like, how does that tell me what your thought process is, why you don't think your phone would work without hooking it up to a network. I just can't understand why it would not do that. Um, but there are, I think, some phones that do that. I don't know. Um, I don't know, but I do know that Google Pixel does not do that. And most phones, I don't think you would have to be connected to internet just to use it. So, and I tried to explain it. It's like this phone, if you really think about it, it's kind of just like a smaller tablet. You're not gonna hook a tablet up to a phone network. You could nowadays, but you don't do that, right? Especially back in the day, where it wasn't really a thing you do. You just connected the internet, like Wi-Fi or something. It's like, but you don't need to do that. But I guess they just never understood that. Plus, I mean, like I said, I love really dark tint, but my parents are like, why do you need your tint so dark? They have fish bowls basically. If they buy a car without tint, they won't change it. If they buy a car with tint, they won't change it, but they won't really care either. So plus the kind of cars they get, it's not like it's really dark tint, right? It's kind of legal tint for everywhere, even ones with more strict tint rules, I guess. So, but whenever I was saying like, oh yeah, I'm doing my tint or whatever, because every car I get, I do my own tint for specific purpose. Of obviously, it's going to cost a ton of money just to get somebody else to do it when I can just do it myself. But that's kind of my mindset with a lot of things as well. Just do it myself because it costs so much more money if I didn't. So yeah, but even my grandparents, they got my grandpa has literally a fishbowl. He has a car that has zero tint at all. I was very tempted to get Klingon tint just if I ever need to drive it for whatever reason, just have Klingon tint I could put on quickly. But I'm not going to. So, but even he's like, "Why do you need tint?" I'm like, because I don't want people just staring at me in my car, like, and I know people stare at you in your car, so I don't need that happening. I know it because I've seen it. Now, a lot of times they have no ill will towards you, or they don't even know you, but it's like I don't need random people looking into my car. It's not even for when I'm not in the car, right? You know, because you can't see unless you use a flashlight to see into it. You're not really gonna see into it, right? In fact, I've even caught an old manager like 5, 10 years, no, not 10 years, but 5 minimum years ago. I think it was 2019, 2020. I saw him looking into a dude's truck. I don't know why he did that, but he did it. I was like, why are you? But stuff like that would be completely, even if you put your face up to it and try to get all the sunlight out of your eyes, you're still not going to be able to see much in it. In fact, I had a truck one time. Tent was so dark in the back. It was, I think, 3 layers of 2.5%. And the back panel of the truck even had one of those decals that you could see through it. So you couldn't see through the back whatsoever, but you also could not see into the back seat, literally at all. I had a cop one time. I was wondering because a drunk driver actually hit me in that car or that truck, and so we were on pretty good terms. So I just popped the question of, hey, can you shine the light in the back of my truck? And she tried to. She couldn't see a thing, right? She literally could not see even a slight bit of anything in the back of it. And it was dark outside, okay? Not only was it dark outside, but she was shining a really bright light directly into the back, and you still couldn't see anything. So yeah, it got that dark at one point, but normally I just do 1 or 2 layers at maximum. And in fact, my current car, I didn't even put 2 layers. I just have one. So, but it's still 2.5%. So, and anytime I have to drive, like, because there was an issue I couldn't fix myself on my car. It was an electrical issue that I had no idea where it was. The people who fixed it didn't even know where it was because they still haven't truly fixed it. In fact, they kind of made it worse, but it does start now, I guess. But anyways, I had to drive a different car that without as much tint, and I felt naked for the first week. After the first week, I was more fine with it, but it's still not fun. When you go from complete darkness, basically, to being, you can actually see through it. It's like, oh wow, I hate this. I hate this feeling. I feel naked. I feel exposed. But then when I got back into my car, it was like, I feel really secure, but I can't see anything. I am so used to driving without any tint at all. I really can't see anything. And at night, you literally cannot see anything ever. It gets to that point where if sometimes you do have to roll down your window just to see where you're turning, because I've done that. There was a area left. I had to turn left. I couldn't see, and there was a median, and basically, so if you went too far out, like if you turn too sharply, you would hit the median. But if you turn not sharp enough, then you'd hit the curb, right? So, sometimes you do have to really focus or stuff like that. But if you buy LED lights, it's a little better. But yeah, I had to get used to it, I guess. It's kind of why I don't drive a lot at night. I do drive at night, but just not as much, right? If I don't have to, I don't. So yeah.
and then one running Graphene OS. The police over there might actually think that you're Pablo Escobar. So I guess that's a great way to troll police who don't want the citizens of their country to have any decent privacy. Get a second Pixel phone and just casually install Graphene OS on it. Use it as like a portable MP3 player or whatever. Just use it. And you know what? If you really want to mess with them, install Signal on it too, and just occasionally text yourself on Signal and give yourself a username on there that sounds like some sort of drug kingpin. That's probably the best way to speedrun going to jail.
I love how this phone is literally cracked a little bit. But yeah, I like I said, I just use my phone as something like that as well. I don't even carry it around all the time either. I do have access to it like most of the time, but I'm not constantly on it, and I don't have it connected to any Wi-Fi other than my home, right? Or any other trusted Wi-Fi I know, right? So yeah, it's not really used to do illegal stuff. It's just more so I can do my own thing on it, right? So, and now if I was doing illegal stuff, I would most definitely be using it. But yeah,
in Catalina. But unironically, you should install Graphene OS on your phone if you want to have better privacy and you just don't want the police to be actively scanning what you're doing and monitoring and tracking you, because they're literally doing that to everybody. It's not even people who are suspects.
yeah, they
just
are
tracking where everybody goes, and then they filter out suspects from that data. So install Graphene OS today.
I mean, that's in a different country too. That's not in America, but it happens in America too. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, the world is becoming more and more of a security state. Not just even one or two countries like China. We all know China's a security state, but now America is becoming a security state. We're supposed to have freedoms. We're supposed to have the freedom to do a lot of things, but with a security state, it's kind of completely going against that. You know what I'm saying? You can't do anything basically in the United States without being watched, right? By essentially Big Brother, but Big Brother's AI. So, and then even when you're working your job, you're still being watched by Big Brother, but Big Brother in that case is your bosses. So you're constantly being watched in today's society, and that's kind of the reason I snapped and finally wanted to do something about it. I'm not gonna, you know, um, end up doing a lot about it because I don't have the power to do it, and nobody even knows. Because personally, I don't want to show too much of this outside of my life, my personal life, because I don't really like talking about politics too much. But um, yeah, I've gotten more into it lately. So um, before 6 months ago, I wouldn't even dare talk about politics, but now I kind of have been more into bringing up that idea of, yeah, they're literally just watching you, and it's a security state, whether you like it or not, and we got to do something about it. Because now I've kind of been talking about it a little bit more, and that's also again like the reason I wanted to at least put my ideas out there. And um I know because like I've already seen videos today about how people are saying stuff about it, but it's not talked about enough, honestly. So that's kind of why I started this channel. um I think I'm gonna wrap it up today though. Maybe do it another day. Maybe go on my Unhinged chaos basically, and ramblings make a lot of go on a lot of different tangents rather. But yeah, I think I'm gonna call it today. Um, Again, nobody watched it, so it's not like I'm talking to anybody. But if you do eventually, if anyone does eventually watch this, then they would at least know that they're not alone, right? So yeah, I'm gonna just call it here and see see be back sometime later, maybe tomorrow again. I don't know. I kind of just saw a couple of videos last night that I wanted to talk about, so I hopped on here. And yeah, let's talk about them. 3 hours it looks like. Sheesh. But yeah, I'll be back.